In 1996, a virtual reality game called Eternal unexpectedly merged with the real world. Countless mysterious maps appeared across the planet, bringing hordes of monsters and alien races that flooded in, sowing chaos. Fortunately, humans could also change professions like in the game, creating opportunities to survive on the razor's edge. It had been only a year since Chu-gi transmigrated into this world. He hadn't even gotten used to his new identity when his mother passed away. As if that weren't enough, Chu-gi's younger sister suddenly fell ill with a strange disease. With no choice left, he was forced to sell the house, beg relatives for loans, and hire a low-level pastor to keep his sister alive. But medical costs kept piling up, and Chu-gi's part-time earnings gradually became insufficient. So he resolved to switch to a combat profession, hoping to enter dungeons to earn more money. At the profession change ceremony, the presiding official was a level 24 mage, majestic and powerful. When he placed his staff on the awakening platform, a brilliant purple light flared up, so dazzling that the trainees below couldn't open their eyes. The aura radiated powerfully, like an invisible storm, leaving Chu-gi inwardly awestruck. A presiding mage's earnings from hosting a profession ceremony had to be at least 6 figures, he thought to himself. Then, the trainees took turns stepping onto the awakening platform in order. Although this world had thousands of professions, each person was shown only the 3 options best suited to them when changing professions. In a world teeming with monsters, combat professions were always most respected, especially outstanding warriors. Conversely, non-combat professions were regarded as lowly. The trainee at the front completed awakening with a livelihood-related profession and moved on to the next round of profession changes. Before long, it was number 31's turn. Chu-gi was the class monitor with excellent grades and top attribute stats. Many had high expectations of him. However, those achievements seemed to have little to do with changing professions. When Chu-gi stepped onto the awakening platform, all eyes turned to him, but strangely, the platform showed no reaction. Just as people began whispering, the pendant on Chu-gi's chest suddenly flashed with a brilliant golden light. The light grew more intense, like a sacred flame erupting, enveloping his entire body. Instantly, a series of notifications appeared before Chu-gi, like floating panels of light in the air. System energy detected. System activating. Download complete. The strongest profession support system has been activated. Newcomer gift package, Divine Protection S-Rank. Without hesitation, Chu-gi selected to receive the reward. Immediately, a surge of divine power rose within him. His affinity with the light system skyrocketed. The effects of all light-based skills were doubled. In this world, talents were ranked from F to S. The higher the rank, the more exceptional the effects. More importantly, talents were closely linked to the profession chosen at the ceremony. As people chatted excitedly, a voice rang out to break the silence. Chu-gi, what are you standing there dazed for? It's not like you can't change professions, is it? At that moment, a dazzling golden beam suddenly pierced the clouds, enveloping Chu-gi. The whole sky seemed dyed a holy gold, glittering with radiant orange light. The 2 hosts looked up, unable to hide their astonishment. I didn't expect this to be a sign of talent awakening. Under everyone's stunned gaze, a majestic 6-winged angel slowly descended from the column of light. At last, she hovered directly before Chu-gi, exuding a divine presence that left everyone breathless. Faced with the angel's holy and mesmerizing beauty, Chu-gi for a moment couldn't help but show a look of infatuation, staring at her without blinking. Both teachers and students around were dumbfounded, mouths agape and speechless. Suddenly, a clear, bell-like voice rang out amid the radiant light. The light is your faith. It is his source of energy. With the support of his faith, the holy light will forever protect him from all evil. The path of holy light will always shield him from all wickedness, and I will always protect him, staying by his side. Having spoken, the angel reached out and gently embraced Chu-gi. Immediately after, she transformed into a brilliant beam of light and merged with the center of his forehead, leaving a sparkling golden cross. In the blink of an eye, Chu-gi's body flared with golden light, dazzling, like a holy flame erupting. As the light slowly faded, 3 golden images appeared in midair. On the ground, the crowd immediately erupted, shouts ringing out. This guy looks so dazed, but he's so lucky. Not only did he awaken a talent right at the profession ceremony, but the 3 professions shown have never been seen before. The homeroom teacher, Ms. Lai, widened her eyes in disbelief. Unbelievable. These are the hidden professions from legend. Before Chu-gi now were 3 rare choices: Light Mage, Holy Cleric, and Holy Knight. Faced with those 3 powerful hidden professions, Chu-gi fell into thought. The Light Mage specialized in damage, wielding formidable destructive power, but with very fragile self-defense, easily falling in battle. The Holy Cleric had many protective and healing skills, but poor solo combat ability, overly reliant on teammates. Meanwhile, the Holy Knight was more well-rounded, able to both withstand and attack, and possessed healing abilities, balancing offense and defense. Although he didn't possess any outstanding special talent, Chu-gi had a natural affinity with the Holy Light, making the Holy Knight the perfect choice for him. Without hesitation, he decided to choose the Holy Knight profession. Immediately, the image of the Holy Knight shimmered into view, transformed into a brilliant beam of light, and merged into Chu-gi's body. A solemn voice resounded. Congratulations on successfully changing your profession to Holy Knight. Behind him, 3 pairs of majestic angelic wings, 6 wings in total, slowly appeared, radiating holy light. 2 floating dialogue boxes appeared before him. Congratulations on changing to Holy Knight level 10. Skill acquired, Pure Blade. Skill acquired, Slow Recovery. Weapon benefit obtained. Unassigned, 10 attribute points. In the blink of an eye, the crowd surged forward, surrounding Chu-gi from every side. Noisy calls kept ringing out. Chu-gi, can I join you for the big exam? Chu-gi, can you go on a date with me? Can we have children together? Amid the chaos, homeroom teacher Ms. Lai struggled through and loudly dispersed the crowd. Don't gather here anymore. It's over. It's over. Then she turned to Chu-gi in a gentler tone. Chu-gi, you performed very well today. Go home and rest. Come to the principal's office tomorrow. Returning to the dormitory, Chu-gi began studying his new profession. After changing professions, not only were his attributes enhanced, but his physical strength also improved significantly. He had 10 unassigned attribute points. After some thought, Chu-gi prioritized strength to maximize his attack, then stamina to be more enduring in battle. After finishing the allocation, he felt a surge of energy boiling within his body, like a blazing flame, powerful and intoxicating. At that moment, a dialogue box appeared. New player detected assigning attribute points for the first time. Holy Knight quest has been activated. The corner of Chu-gi's mouth curved into a bright smile. So completing quests can grant rewards. This one isn't bad. After all, his journey had only just begun. When Chu-gi pressed the confirm button, the surrounding space instantly twisted violently, as if torn apart and reborn. A cold, clear announcement sounded. For random challenge levels have successfully combined, creating a harsh training field. The mission appeared before him. Defeat the Gula-class monster. Take this trial seriously. If you die in the trial, you will die in reality. When he opened his eyes again, Chu-gi found himself standing in a deserted mine cave, not a soul in sight. According to the guidebook, Gula was not originally a carnivorous monster, but when facing humans it became ferocious and would fight to the last drop of blood. Lost in thought, a sudden hook came crashing in from behind. Chu-gi leaped back like a blade, the ground beneath his feet cracking. The corner of his mouth lifted into a confident smile. This is my first time facing a monster. If I don't use skills, can I still kill it? Then his toes twitched slightly, his body flashed and reappeared several meters away in the blink of an eye. He was now more agile than ever, with greatly enhanced spring. Is this because my attributes increase? Gula roared violently and charged at terrifying speed. But with superior agility, Chu-gi easily dodged its attack. Too slow. I can see the trajectory of its strike. But as soon as the words left his mouth, a razor-sharp tail shot out from behind the Gula, stabbed straight into Chu-gi, and slammed him hard into a rock behind. A hole opened in his abdomen, blood gushing out relentlessly. The intense pain made Chu-gi buckle, blood pouring over his body. Seeing that, The Gula let out a grotesque burst of laughter. Without hesitation, Chu-gi immediately activated the slow recovery skill. Though he had gone through many training sessions at school, facing a real monster was a completely different experience. Even low-level monsters couldn't be underestimated. He gritted his teeth and vowed to remember this lesson. The Gula growled, swinging its sharp claws and lunging forward again. Chu-gi wasted no time and drew a cross sign in the air with his hand. A brilliant golden light immediately flared up, forming a cross that flew straight toward the Gula. That was his pure blade skill, imbued with light magic, dealing damage and also paralyzing the enemy. Seizing the moment the Gula staggered, Chu-gi slammed his foot into the ground, rushed forward like a whirlwind. He activated the violent ram skill, grabbed the monster and dragged it along before slamming it with a powerful impact. The Gula was flung like a projectile, crashing into the stone wall with an explosion that reverberated through the cave. The corner of Chu-gi's mouth curved, his eyes flashing. "Here we go, baby." Golden energy flared from his fist, like a holy fire. Chu-gi delivered the final punch, infused with the power of Aurora, striking the Gula. The monster collapsed and turned to ash. An announcement immediately rang out. "Gula defeated. You have completed the A-rank evaluation trial. Please choose your reward. Receive an additional 10 attribute points. Obtain skill Holy Knight. Receive a random Holy Knight equipment." Attribute points and skills are the foundation of any profession's power.
Chu nghi côn sai ca pheo.
New skills take time to master, while a suitable weapon would be more useful in later trials. In the end, he chose the 10 attribute points to immediately boost his strength. As he accepted the reward, the surrounding space began to disintegrate, as if dissolving into nothingness. Chu-gi sank into a gentle melody and returned to his room in the blink of an eye. At the same time, at Fujian City Hospital, Chu-gi's younger sister Chu-van was watching the news about the profession ceremony. The announcer's voice brimmed with excitement. "This is the first hidden profession owner our city has seen in 50 years. Even the mayor is paying special attention." Chu-van managed a weak smile, her eyes gleaming with hope, thinking of her brother. Suddenly, the TV screen went dark. The head nurse entered the room with a gloomy expression, holding a piece of paper. "It's time to pay the hospital bill, Chu-van," she said coldly, handing the paper to her. Chu-van took it, her hands trembling. When she saw the figure on it, her eyes widened in shock. "Why is it so expensive? Wasn't it only 5,000 stars before? My brother has to work 3 jobs a month just to earn that much. Where are we supposed to get the rest?" Her voice was full of panic and helplessness. The head nurse frowned, her tone sharp. "You've been using too many medications this month and even had a priest come once. During that period, you relapsed 3 times, forcing the nursing team to stay up nights to care for you. If fate doesn't allow it, don't expect to be cured. Born poor, accept your lot. No money, then get out." The icy words cut Chu-van to the bone. Just then, a hand unexpectedly rested on the head nurse's shoulder. A steady, deep voice said, "Nurse, I believe I just heard you scolding the patient." The head nurse flinched, stammering, Is that so?" She hurriedly changed her tone. "Would you mind coming to the director's office to discuss this?" The man only responded with a cold glance. Sensing the overwhelming presence, the head nurse immediately turned and left the room without daring to say another word. Chu-van remained tense, eyeing the strangers warily. She assumed they were debt collectors, her heart pounding. The middle-aged man smiled amiably, stepped forward, and handed over a business card. "Are you Chu-van?" he asked gently. "The hospital system shows a new deposit in your account. Do you know what happened?" At that moment, Chu-gi entered the ward. He stopped, his gaze immediately turning to the stranger. "Who are you?"
Chu nghi asket warili.
The middle-aged man smiled and extended his hand. "Mr. Chu-gi, my name is Van Ban, the mayor's secretary. I wish to speak with you about a matter." His voice was calm but carried an air of formality. Chu-gi listened quietly, weighing things in his mind. Mayor Li Shi was a powerful figure, and his secretary Van Ban sometimes even acted on the mayor's behalf. He gave a slight smile and nodded. "This isn't the place to talk. Let's go somewhere else. The two left the hospital and entered a nearby restaurant. The atmosphere turned more formal as they spoke politely and cautiously. But from just a few exchanged looks, Chu-gi sensed Van Ban's deeper intentions. Van Ban produced an exquisite key and gently placed it on the table. The mayor holds you in high regard. He has specifically requested the media not to bother you and has arranged special cultivation resources just for you. Those resources are stored in the Citibank safe, and this is the only key. If you have other requests, feel free to propose them. Van Ban's tone was calm but laden with implication. Chu-gi did not immediately take the key. In the mayor's eyes, he was probably a promising investment, a factor that could greatly influence the future. But Chu-gi knew all too well that nothing in this world is free. The mayor clearly expected that one day he would repay this favor. Van Ban seemed to read the doubt in his eyes and continued, "From today, a professional medical team will be on duty to care for Chu Van around the clock. Additionally, the mayor has contacted a level 36 pastor. In a month, he will personally come to treat her." Hearing Chu Van's name, Chu-gi's brow knit slightly. But after only a few seconds of thought, he made up his mind. "All right, let's do it," he thought, then quickly took the key. "Thank you very much." His voice was calm but revealed decisive resolve. Back in the ward, Chu-gi recounted the entire event to his sister. Chu Van looked at him, her eyes sparkling with admiration. "Big brother, are you going to soar into the sky now? Can I be a decoration on your thigh later?" She laughed, a radiant smile appearing on her pale, illness-touched face. Chu-gi gently ruffled his sister's hair, his gaze tender yet resolute. "There are things I need to prioritize, little Van. Right now, the most important thing is taking care of your health." His voice was warm and sincere. Chu Van looked up curiously, eyes shining with eagerness. "Each profession has its own skills, right? What are your skills? What are your 3 unique skills?" Chu-gi smiled and explained that slow recovery was his primary support spell and could be combined with the Holy Knight's weapon for greater effect. Slow recovery can help ease your pain. As he spoke, he gently placed his hand on her forehead. The moment the skill activated, a holy golden light flared up, enveloping Chu Van. In an instant, her body was completely soothed, the pain ebbing away and replaced by an indescribable relief. "So comfortable, like soaking in a hot spring," Chu Van exclaimed in astonishment. Chu-gi continued to apply the skill, generating a protective halo-like armor of light that wrapped around his sister. After a while, he withdrew his hand and asked, "There, do you feel better?" Chu Van immediately nodded repeatedly, a radiant smile brightening her face. "No more pain, and my body feels warm. You're really amazing." Her eyes shone with admiration. A gentle smile appeared on Chu-gi's face. He hadn't chosen the Holy Knight solely for combat power. A larger part of his reason was his sister's strange illness. Though the skill couldn't fully cure her, even easing her pain a little was enough to make him content. The next morning, Chu-gi went to the principal's office. The principal beamed with satisfaction, his tone enthusiastic. "Yesterday, dozens of universities contacted me requesting special admission for you. My phone nearly blew up. Today, 4 professors from top 10 universities are coming directly. Show them your best, Chu-gi. Secure the best resources for yourself. These professors are second-tier career transfer instructors, all above level 35. If you receive special admission, your future training will be top-notch." His eyes were full of expectation. However, a flicker of disappointment still crossed Chu-gi's mind. The top 3 universities he hoped for had not appeared. The principal seemed to notice his thoughts and quickly explained, "The Team University and Akeem University select solely based on major exams. They don't consider talent or profession, nor do they care about unstable factors." With that, he led Chu-gi to the reception room. From the hallway, the lively debate inside could already be heard. The principal entered first, his expression solemn. He introduced each person. "These are the professors from Tianfu University, Southern Mountain University, Capital City University, and Anjing University." Chu-gi immediately bowed politely and greeted them. "Hello, professors." The 4 professors all nodded in unison, their eyes assessing the young man before them. Despite having transferred into a rare hidden profession, Chu-gi showed no arrogance, impatience, or pride. A very fine young man, one quietly remarked to himself. Tru Tianfu, representing Tianfu University, spoke first. His voice was decisive and blunt. I'll be frank about Vin Duong University's offer. If you enroll, you'll receive a monthly stipend of 2 million, plus 3 exclusive skill books for the Holy Night. Hearing that, Chu-gi couldn't help but startle. A normal family's income was only around 6,000 per month, yet the offered sum reached 2 million. Moreover, the Holy Night's exclusive skill books were nearly impossible for ordinary people to access. Even the mayor could only provide him with equivalent-level resources. Mr. Li Bang, representing Southern Mountain University, burst into a mocking laugh. That's all? Vin Duong University is as stingy as ever. Ha! He then turned to Chu-gi with a confident smile. Chu-gi, if you enroll at Southern Mountain University, you'll receive 3 million per year. You'll also get 3 level 56 Holy Night skill books and direct instruction from level 56 knights. The principal standing nearby immediately gaped, eyes full of astonishment. Level 56. That's a being nearly at the peak of this planet. If you could become a disciple of someone like that, your future would be virtually limitless. His voice trembled with excitement, but Chu-gi only shook his head slightly, still weighing his options. Southern Mountain University's offer was tempting but not enough to sway him. At that moment, Ms. Nak Lu from Capital City University hurriedly spoke with great enthusiasm. Capital City's enrollment fee is not high, only 2 million. But if you agree to enroll, I'll immediately provide you with a B-grade cultivation resource. Right after Mr. Truong from Anjing University jumped in. His aged face flushed with excitement, his voice nearly fanatical. Agree now, Chu-gi. A B-grade cultivation resource can't be measured by money. It's a rare treasure of heaven and earth. Even an ordinary pig could be nurtured into the strongest monster. The 4 professors all looked to Chu-gi, awaiting his decision. The room's atmosphere instantly tightened like a drawn bowstring, but Chu-gi's next words plunged the room into absolute silence. I intend to forego this direct admission opportunity. The 4 professors were stunned, their faces showing awkwardness and disbelief. Ms. Nak Lu of Anjing University knit her brows, her gaze turning cold. Yet Chu-gi stood tall, his voice firm and strong. I want to pass into the 3 most prestigious universities in the top 10. In the current rankings, Capital University and Madu University consistently occupy the top spots and are honored as the 3 strongest universities of Zhongha Nation. Chu-gi explained slowly, his eyes blazing with determination. Each year they recruit only about 1,000 freshmen. Not only humans but other races like the fairykin or giants can also participate in the selection. Those races already possess power far beyond ordinary humans. Moreover, the top 3 universities gather countless outstanding geniuses from across Zhongha Nation. Therefore, passing their entrance is akin to reaching the heavens. Tru Tianfu suddenly burst into loud laughter, his voice booming like thunder. I thought you were a promising seed. Turns out you're just someone who doesn't know his limits. I've read your entire file. 18 years living in poverty, without good resources for cultivation. Weak strength, low attributes. With your current ability, don't talk about the top 3 universities. Getting into the top ranks is already wishful thinking. Even if you somehow get in, you'll just be at the bottom of the class. You won't receive any focused training. Your life will ultimately end up like this. His gaze turned icy, and an overwhelming invisible pressure immediately descended on Chu-gi. If it were before, that aura alone would have forced him to his knees. But at that moment, the principal stepped forward to shield Chu-gi, his voice becoming steely. Mr. Tru, what do you mean? Do you intend to bully my student on my campus? A flash of surprise crossed Chu-gi's face. Under the tremendous pressure from Tru Tianfu, he had still stood firm without wavering, even for 3 breaths. This child is indeed not ordinary, Principal Nak Lu thought, his eyes showing admiration. Tru Tien Fu snorted coldly and withdrew some of his domineering air. Admissions don't consider potential alone. They must also look at character. With your temperament, even if given special admission, it's unlikely you'll become a great figure. After speaking, he led the 3 other professors out of the reception room, leaving behind an atmosphere so heavy it was suffocating. Principal Nak Lu looked at Chu Gi, her voice lowering with a hint of regret. You are very brave, but what he said isn't entirely wrong. Zhongha Nation has countless geniuses. There are even alien races stronger than humans. Getting into the top 3 universities is as difficult as reaching the heavens. Hearing that, Chu Gi smiled confidently. His eyes still burned with fighting resolve. I'll use my final exam results to prove my ability. His voice rang with determination. Chu Gi stood there radiating absolute confidence. Only 1 month remained until the final exam. With the system's support, he was sure his strength would grow by leaps and bounds. By then, the top 3 universities would surely be his targets. The principal looked at the young man, surprise flickering across her face. How long has it been since I've seen such a determined look? It reminded her of years fighting on battlefields, where human will was tempered by blood and fire. Living too long in peace and comfort makes people complacent. But now passionate young people like you are replacing us, she said with feeling. She smiled and stepped out of the reception room. I look forward to your performance in the big exam. See you, Chu Gi. A month passed in the blink of an eye, and the long-awaited exam finally arrived. News about Chu Gi had spread everywhere. Word had it he refused special admission and wanted to take the entrance exams for the top universities himself. How arrogant! A broken-down nobody like him. He couldn't even be sure of passing the city's genius exam. Yet because he has a rare hidden profession he acts so proud. This time he'll likely get into big trouble. Amid the chatter, Chu Gi entered the examination hall, his whole body exuding a powerful, sharp, invisible presence. A nearby student whispered in astonishment. Why does he seem so different from before? He really has the aura of a mighty one. Another sighed wearily. I'm done for today, exhausted. Boo-hoo. Just then, the dungeon gate burst open. An announcement rang out. Dungeon, Gloomwood Forest, level range 10 to 13. Requires 1 to 5 people. Difficulty, nightmare. Lovecats and bullhead beasts are born cruel and bloodthirsty, fond of eating humans. Warning. This dungeon is extremely dangerous. The exam hall instantly erupted into chaos as students panicked and murmured. What is this? Gloomwood Forest again. Is there going to be swamp terrain? Lovecats are agile, while bullhead beasts have thick hides and fat bodies. Aren't they trying to kill us? The difficulty allows up to 5 people. Before it needed only 3. Now it's 5. Definitely extremely dangerous. The whispers grew louder. The proctor stepped up, his voice booming with a hint of mockery. I'm just giving a light reminder. Any student who isn't careful will die. Act within your ability. Don't overdo it. If in danger, use a reversal scroll to escape. But remember, if you die in the dungeon, you die in real life. Time waits for no one. The exam starts immediately. Life is more important than money. Hurry up. Time's up. I'm off. Ha ha ha. He laughed loudly and left, leaving tension hanging in the air. The teleportation circles flared, ready to send students into the dungeon. The system announcement sounded cold and clear. All candidates prepare. The dungeon begins. In an instant, 2 students with the warrior and assassin classes stepped into the dungeon set for 1 to 5 person teams. Next came the level 1 team Long Fai, Vong Fuang and Tun Qian, an elementalist and a shadow mage. They chose the 3-person difficulty challenge. Finally, it was Chu Gi's turn, and the examination hall buzzed. Oh, the protagonist is really different. Going big. A holy knight dares to take the nightmare challenge solo. Chu Gi stood there, eyes blazing with resolve, unmoved by the talk. He stepped into the teleportation circle, ready to face the harshest trial. The remaining group from Class 2, called Truong Vu Vong Lu and Tru Thien Hong, with classes Bao Archer, Fire Mage, and Swordsman, chose the 4-person difficulty challenge. Outside the exam hall, students and spectators chatted animatedly, the air buzzing with excitement. No wonder these are the vanguard classes. Aside from the 2 5-person teams, most chose to run the dungeon solo. Solitary runs yield more experience and higher exam scores, but the risk of death is greater. Only class leader Chugi would dare go that big, someone exclaimed with admiring eyes. As Chugi stepped through the teleport gate into the dungeon, countless eyes followed him intently, all filled with astonishment and worry. How dare he enter a nightmare-level dungeon alone? How lonely and brutal must that difficulty be? From a distance, the director of education gaped at Chugi. This kid is truly insane. Who does he think he is, daring to enter a nightmare-level dungeon by himself? He muttered in disbelief. Then he slammed his hand on the table and shouted. The Holy Knight's extraordinary support ability makes him a focal figure. What gives him the right to do whatever he wants? Why does he want to clear a nightmare dungeon alone? The principal beside him also grew serious. Over the past month, Lijiang City had invested substantial resources in Chugi, all to ensure he achieved excellent results in this exam. If Chugi died in the dungeon, the city's reputation would suffer a heavy blow. He cannot fail, he thought, eyes anxious but still holding on to hope. Hearing this, Director Jia Dao could not contain his anger, his face flushing with fury. Chugi's actions are tantamount to disregarding the government's training, he barked in displeasure. But the principal, his eyes full of confidence, immediately replied, Director Jia, rest assured. Only when he dies will things truly be over. Besides, how could he die? Moreover, he still has an ace up his sleeve. Inside the dungeon, after receiving a 7-point boost to strength and being equipped with a long weapon, Chugi became as agile as lightning. He activated the summoning system for Pure Blade. A white silhouette flashed, swift as a wind that cut through space. Initiate weapon draw system, Chugi murmured, his gaze cold. A love cat lunged forward with viciously sharp claws. As quick as a cut, he summoned the cleaving temple blade. The massive blade radiated a dazzling holy light. Love cat, come here, he shouted, then unleashed a powerful slash. The love cat took the blow and immediately collapsed, motionless. The system quickly displayed a status panel. Strength, 45.
Physique, 51.
Agility, 43. Intelligence, 52. Chugi curled a lip and thought, with these average stats after a month of training, I can still rank among the top 5 candidates. But at that moment, a monster hiding in the bushes behind suddenly lunged out to bite him. Not stopping there, 2 more love cats appeared, their eyes glowing blood red with ferocity. Chugi spun, his eyes blazing with combat intent. If you won't come, then I'll take the initiative to eliminate you, he roared, gripping the blade tightly, ready to meet them. The love cats thought Chugi hadn't noticed them, but he gave them no chance to react. Without a word wasted, he immediately activated a new skill. C-grade blessing weapon. A brilliant light flared and enveloped him, increasing the weapon's physical attack and attack speed. Hit rate reached near certainty. With the agility of a young warrior, Chugi swung the blade like a whirlwind and charged straight at the 2 love cats. The combat results popped up on the score panel. Thanks to the S-rank talent Divine Protection, the blessing weapon skill was dramatically amplified. Pure Blade's power erupted, adding 20 points of damage. Love cat, come here, he murmured and delivered a 180-degree horizontal slash as mighty as thunder. The love cats were almost instantly felled. The ground shook violently and dust and rocks flew everywhere. Chugi stood there, the corner of his mouth lifting in confident smile. My power is truly terrifying. If the other students saw this, they'd surely be stunned. Under the S-rank talents effect, his 3-star blade, once a low-tier weapon, now performed like a 5-star weapon after enhancement. The gap between him and the other candidates had become an abyss. But while Chugi was still basking in thoughts of his feat, 3 love cats suddenly lunged from behind, their claws flashing viciously. Unfazed, he immediately activated the Pure White Shield skill. A holy light erupted, forming a solid protective wall. Moments later, Chugi spun and unleashed a lightning-fast slash, cutting down all the lovecats in the blink of an eye. Why not kill a few more? He told himself, eyes blazing with battle intent. The system kept issuing notifications while the crowd outside continued to buzz with astonishment and doubt. With his remarkable judgment, Chugi had triggered Pure White Shield at the exact moment of the ambush. A lovecat leapt from behind, claws swinging fiercely, but Chugi, as quick as lightning, immediately detected the danger. My reaction speed is now many times stronger than before, he murmured, eyes flashing. Combined with the S-rank talent Divine Protection, his power was vastly amplified. Chugi flung the pure blade. The blade streaked through the air, sharp as an arrow. A holy light burst like thunder, rending space and piercing the lovecat's body, felling it instantly. The audience outside erupted. My God! It's too terrifying. There are no words. I've seen special orders at the trading center, but class leader Chu uses skills like he's playing. Another student exclaimed in shock. Could all his free attribute points be added into strength? That's not it. Look closely, Chugi's speed is extreme. Not only his skill release speed, but his physical attributes are hardly low. Another voice immediately countered with admiring eyes. Amid the chatter, Director Jia Dao stood with a stern face. He silently assessed that Chugi possessed an extremely strong combat consciousness, but his fighting style was overly direct and lacked necessary caution. Still, his eyes couldn't hide recognition of Chugi's exceptional talent. The first wave of lovecats struck like a storm, depleting vast amounts of stamina in the Nightmare Dungeon. Not only was each monster's strength terrifying, but their sheer numbers were enough to topple even the finest mages. The cleaving temple blade, heavy as a mountain, posed an enormous challenge to any professional warrior. One or two slashes might be manageable, but continuously delivering hundreds of strikes would exhaust anyone quickly, only to be torn to pieces by the lovecats in the end. In the Nightmare Dungeon, countless lovecats kept appearing, dense like a sea of monsters. The crowd outside immediately burst into astonishment. So soon another wave of lovecats has appeared? They don't even give a rest, it's brutal, someone else said anxiously. There are over 100 lovecats. Can class leader Chugi still hold out this time? But despite the overwhelming numbers, Chugi stood firm, his whole body erupting with power like a holy flame. He unleashed the exorcise skill, wiping out the lovecats in an instant, making them vanish completely. Not stopping there, to conserve stamina, Chugi further refined his use of Pure White Shield, turning it into a sharper offensive weapon. With a decisive motion, he launched the cleaving temple blade outward. The blade shot like an arrow and slammed into the ground. A massive explosion rang out, hurling dozens of lovecats into the air. Then the blade spiraled back to his hand, crushing the remaining monsters into fragments. This blade, get close and you die, Chugi murmured, eyes blazing with battle intent. The final thunderous slash he reserved for the last lovecat, completely ending the assault. At that moment, a spatial gate suddenly appeared. The vortex of light expanded, radiating a mysterious and dangerous aura.
Jungi Fraueng Sly.
This must be the entrance to the next level, he thought, sensing that the challenge ahead would be far more difficult. Without hesitation, Chugi hoisted the blade onto his shoulder and strode into the gate with absolute confidence. His fighting will burned fiercely within him. The moment he stepped through the gate, Chugi was immediately confronted with a new challenge. A horde of vicious lovecats had gathered ahead, their numbers like a sea of monsters waiting. He curled a smirk, eyes cold and proudly arrogant. All of you charge. I'll handle it. Entering the second floor of the Nightmare Dungeon, Chugi remained unshaken. Before him were countless monsters so numerous they couldn't be counted. Bearing the cleaving temple blade on his shoulder with a nonchalant air, he stood tall like a war god. The system quickly displayed information about the lovecats. The strongest was a level 14 humanoid beast, possessing skills, Rage, Brutal Collision,
Vashtomp,
Overlord. The others were levels 11, 12, and 13, with common skills such as Light Mastery, Healing, Fire Mastery, Fireball, Flame Wave,
Runematchik.
Chu-gi skimmed the data and thought, they're weak individually, but very organized in combat. Huin Kuang Yu was the cleric-type love cat, specializing in healing allies. Mages like Yem Yu and Dark Rune Yu combined with White Silver Yu human delivered devastating attacks, forming a complete battle formation. If the first gate was a chaotic mob, this second gate was like a trained army, increasing the death rate 100-fold. Suddenly, the monsters roared in unison, their momentum soaring. A lead beast bellowed, "Brothers, kill it!" Chu-gi tightened his grip on the blade, eyes ablaze with battle intent, ready to face the entire Love Cat army. The pack charged as one. Leading them was a fierce fishman boasting superior combat strength. Behind them, the Mayu Mage pack continuously cast dark runes and fire magic, creating a relentless storm of attacks. Immediately, Chu-gi was bound by dark runes, his hands and feet tightly restrained, his body freezing under the curse's effect. At the same time, blazing fireballs hurtled toward him, coordinated with the melee Mayu and the charging fishmen. The situation became extremely perilous, with almost no way out. But instead of panicking, Chu-gi only faintly smirked, his eyes flashing sharpness. He calmly analyzed the beast's tactics, every move calculated. Chu-gi whispered an incantation, his deep, steady voice resonating. The moment the Holy Light Cross skill was activated, a giant cross symbol appeared before him, radiating brilliant holy light and an overwhelming presence. Facing the Mayu pack's fierce assault, Chu-gi slowly pressed his palms together, forming a glittering seal between his hands. In an instant, the dark runes on his body vanished, and a tremendous surge of power exploded forth. The stands fell silent as everyone held their breath, watching his every action. No one could predict what he would do next. Suddenly, the light from the Holy Light Cross erupted violently, spreading across the battlefield. Where the light touched, all demons were instantly incinerated, vanishing without a trace. The Mayu and fishmen, once filled with killing intent, let out agonized screams and thrashed wildly to no avail. The holy light grew ever brighter like a divine flame devouring everything. In the blink of an eye, all the beasts were swept clean, not a single one remaining. The system immediately announced, Holy Light Cross Skill Level 4B. Summons Holy Light to form a giant cross symbol, causing enemies within range to continuously suffer light damage per second. After witnessing Chu-gi wipe out the beasts in an instant, the entire stands erupted. Director Jia Dao, the head of the Education Bureau, and all the spectators leapt to their feet in shock. Too strong. All the low-level beasts have been completely annihilated. Jia Dao stood stunned, his heart profoundly shaken. Who told me the Holy Knight was merely a support class? His area attack skill, Holy Light Cross, is clearly reached Grade A. Skill talents are divided into many tiers. The higher the tier, the more terrifying the effect, meaning rarity and value far exceed imagination. Jia Dao looked at Chu-gi with resolute eyes, deeply shaken. Even government resources can only provide C-grade skills. Yet he possesses a B-grade skill. Chu-gi's ability is truly not ordinary. Inside the dungeon, Chu-gi stood tall before the last remaining beast, a gigantic fishman. With a confident expression, he sneered, "Come on then, it's just you left." Seemingly understanding the provocation, the fishman roared in rage and activated a skill. A colossal overlord silhouette appeared behind it, stomping down on the ground. Boom! The earth trembled violently, debris scattering as a deep fissure lunged straight toward Chu-gi. But he remained completely unshaken. With a light spring, Chu-gi leapt into the air, dodging the attack with ghost-like agility. Giving him no chance to rest, the fishman dashed forward like lightning, aiming at the hovering Chu-gi. It used brutal collision. In Overlord state, all its power erupted, making every strike deal maximum damage. Yet Chu-gi kept a terrifying calm, as if the fishman's attacks were child's play. He barely smirked, raised the war cloth in his hand, and activated Cleaving Strike. Light flashed violently. A devastating blow struck the fishman, hurling it dozens of meters away. Its massive body tumbled through the air. But Chu-gi did not stop. He pressed his hands to his chest and the holy light flared across the battlefield once more. Although Overlord's state made the fishman nearly immune to critical damage from ordinary strikes, Chu-gi remained ice-cold and composed. The other beasts, when engulfed by the holy light, stood frozen as if petrified. Even wounded, the fishman screamed madly and charged toward Chu-gi one last time. But the moment it closed in, Chu-gi coldly unleashed a world-shaking slash. The blade ripped through the air and cleaved the fishman's body in two. Fresh blood spurted everywhere. Its giant body crashed to the ground, eyes still wide and staring at Chu-gi in defiance. The holy light blazed brighter, the divine flames incinerating all remaining beasts until they vanished in an instant. With a single move, the entire battlefield was wiped clean. Chu-gi slowly stepped forward and casually stamped on the fishman's head. That seemingly simple stomp crushed its skull like crushing a loaf of bread. The last beast was completely felled. At that moment, a shimmering gate appeared in midair, leading to the final floor of the nightmare dungeon where the final boss awaited. Outside the dungeon, the hall exploded with excited cheers. All eyes were glued to the big screen. Oh my God! One strike sent that giant fishman flying that far. Incredible! Shouts of amazement rang through the stands. Don't forget these fishmen are formidable. Such a crazy sequence of moves. A spectator yelled, Chu-gi, I like you. The second gate was cleared in merely 59 seconds. Old Dao, head of the Education Bureau, no longer wore his initial disdain. Instead, he gaped, intently watching every moment. Kyo-do beside him applauded. Very powerful, my good son. He turned to Dean La-hang, eyes glinting with pride. Principal, congratulations. The second academy has had an excellent exam. Seeing Kyo-do flip his stance so quickly, Dean La-hang merely smiled calmly and replied, It's over. The feng shui has changed. It's time our school has outstanding talents. He felt quietly pleased. Since the academy's founding, its best student had only ranked 721st in the province. Perhaps this time Chu-gi would elevate the second academy to a new height. Suddenly, a student pointed at the screen and shouted, Oh my God! Why not rest before entering the boss room? Hearing that, Old Dao pretended to be angry and scolded sharply. Good grief! You're being ridiculous again. How can you fight if you don't rest? Seeing Old Dao agitated and irritable, La-hang hurriedly reached out to calm him, sweat beading on his brow. Chu-gi has his reasons. Sit down and watch calmly. Don't lose your head. He thought to himself that in populous Dahang province, anyone hoping to break the provincial top 100 would choose solo runs in nightmare dungeons at this difficulty. To become the top scorer, you must clear the final stage in the shortest time. At that moment in the dungeon, Chu-gi stood proudly before the throne, facing the boss Joya sitting motionless. With a cold, thunderous voice the boss roared, You worthless wretch dare set foot in my palace. Do you know who you're facing? Before Chu-gi could answer, he sneered on, You didn't ask, but I'll answer anyway. I'm level 16A. My skills are unknown and extremely powerful, born with golden talent. Don't try to hack my info. It's a waste of effort. No sooner had the taunt ended than Joya swung his colossal hammer and yelled, Prepare to die! A terrifying strike descended, carrying immense force. Earth and stone exploded. The ground shattered into fragments. The air seemed torn apart by the blow's power. The system announced activation. Dawn's blessing, a gift of courage, the guardian god's grace. In his fishman form, boss Joya slammed the dreadful hammer into the ground, but missed his mark. Its eyes glowed red, full of spite, as if about to burst into tears from anger. Not far away, Chu-gi donned his gleaming divine armor, waved a taunting hand and laughed loudly. Hey you there! I'm right here. Instantly, Chu-gi activated all optimized skills of the novice holy knight. Light flared from the armor, enveloping him in a radiant aura. The fishman, also called Purple Pearl, glared at Chu-gi, murderous intent rising in waves. Without hesitation, he lunged straight at the boss with lightning speed, vaulted high into the air, both hands gripping the divine axe. He brought the axe down with full force. Boom! The sound thundered like a clap. When this hammer falls, you're going to have to go sell salt. He thought to himself, but the strike failed to leave any significant scratch on the fishman's steel-like body. The battle intensified. With its colossal frame, the fishman seemed cast from steel, unmoved by the axe enhanced by 4 amplification skills. Chu-Gi's blow only made it angrier, its eyes blazing with fury. Not giving him a moment to breathe, the fishman swung its giant hammer, launching a ferocious counterattack. A deafening explosion rang out, the space shook, and rocks flew in all directions. Fortunately, Chu-Gi nimbly twisted his body, dodging the terrifying blow, but the fishman gave him no respite. It brought down another hammer strike, the force so tremendous that Chu-Gi was flung away, smashing through scores of stone walls. Yet thanks to the divine armor and the protagonist's skill, he escaped without a broken rib, rose upright, and stood ready to face it. Suddenly, a flash ignited in Chu-Gi's eyes as if he'd realized something crucial. With intense focus, he swung his hand and summoned the Spear of Victory. Radiant spears of divine power shot toward the fishman, piercing its body and dealing horrendous damage. Not stopping there, countless spears appeared from the surrounding space, glittering like stars. In an instant they all launched, striking the fishman from every direction. But the boss sneered contemptuously and roared, "These puny spears can hurt me?" Immediately, the fishman swung its giant hammer, intercepting a volley of spears with a harsh clang of metal. Chu-Gi watched silently, thinking that this one's physique and strength were superior and couldn't be beaten by brute force. He realized the kiting tactic, constantly moving to wear down the boss, was many players' choice. But that took too long to claim the provincial top spot. The contest wasn't about hit and run. It was about demonstrating superior skill. There had to be another way to defeat this boss. In an instant, Chu-Gi activated the system to use the level 8 Sea Spear of Victory. His eyes flashed with acuity as he spotted the fishman's weakness. Its agility stat was too low. Attacking from many angles at high speed would make it hard for the boss to defend. Without hesitation, Chu-Gi launched a smart spear, streaking like lightning and piercing straight into the fishman's body. The system warned, "Mana value continues to drop. Please replenish mana in time."
Chu-Gi's my Fily, Setterly Acid.
The opportunity had come. Besides being slow, the fishman had another fatal weakness: its poor ability to withstand consecutive attacks. In a flash, a horrific explosion tore open the fishman's flank. Flesh burst apart and blood spurted as Chu-Gi struck the critical weak point. The giant boss roared in pain and collapsed to the ground, the earth trembling under its weight. Chu-Gi analyzed quietly. The fishman had exceptional endurance and stamina, but was vulnerable to negative effects and heavy damage. He needed to concentrate power and continuously unleash high-damage skills in a short time. The system warned again, "Mana is relatively low. Please replenish mana promptly, or you'll be screwed." Without hesitation, Chu-Gi poured all his strength in, causing a barrage of spears from the Spear of Victory to rain down, attacking the fishman from every direction. Even the ferocious boss couldn't withstand the storm of relentless skills. This was the golden opportunity to deliver the finishing blow. Chu-Gi inhaled deeply, eyes cold and calculating, carefully timing and pacing his skill use for maximum effect. At the decisive moment, with mana nearly depleted, he knew that if he didn't kill the fishman now, he'd lose the chance for the top provincial title. He activated the system and drew out a white sword gleaming with holy light. Sadly, there wasn't enough time to amplify its power. Without hesitation, Chu-Gi delivered a decisive slash. The blade tore the air and sent the fishman flying into the sky. The system's damage counter lit up, signaling tremendous damage. After many hardships, Chu-Gi finally destroyed the final fishman boss Joya with its last roar. The system announced jubilantly, "Congratulations on completing the Gloom Dungeon at Nightmare difficulty. Clear time: 9 minutes 24 seconds. Your exam result is rated SSS. Congratulations on setting the #1 clear record for the contest." Hearing this, Chu-Gi, exhausted though he was, couldn't hide his astonishment. He thought, the #1 human clear record. Could it be that I've surely become the provincial top scorer of Tahang? In a moment, from utter exhaustion, he erupted with overwhelming joy, shouting inwardly, "Amazing! I did it. Memories flooded back. He recalled a year of tumult since transmigrating to this world. His mother had died of illness. His sister was gravely ill, and all the suffering and humiliation he had endured. Though this achievement was only a beginning and filled him with pride, Chu-gi knew the road ahead was long. For his family, he would never give up. Step by steady step, Chu-gi walked into the newly opened time gate, ready to return. The system continued to confirm. Congratulations on collecting all rewards. 522 experience points, 20 free attribute points, 20 skill points. Level increased from 11 to 13. Additionally, you received the Jungle Belt requirement level 10 plus 10 physique, B-tier energy, maximizes HP and energy regen speed by threefold, and triple stamina recovery speed within jungle environments. Next was the Advanced Jungle Outfit requirement level 10, plus 8 agility minus 10 intelligence, reinforcing physical endurance and also tripling HP and energy regeneration rates. He also obtained 10 wild strawberries that restore mana when consumed, and the head of the Golden Robber Fish King, a minor magical material. After successfully enchanting it, equipment strength increased by 20. After collecting all the rewards, Chu-gi stood there with a determined look, ready for the next challenges. The whole hall erupted in joy as Chu-gi stepped out of the time gate.
Cheers rang everywhere. Welcome back, Chu-gi.
You're my idol. Chu-gi is so strong. Amazing. The crowd looked at him like a triumphant god, their gazes full of admiration. Chu-gi was briefly surprised by the enthusiasm. Suddenly, the snapping of cameras came from behind. It turned out a swarm of reporters had rushed in, jostling to capture the glorious moment. Principal La Hang and the director of the education department also stepped forward, each spending over 10 minutes congratulating him. The director, pride on his face, declared, "This is an unprecedented achievement in 100 years. With my years of research experience, Chu-gi can fully understand future market conditions. His prospects are extremely promising." Chu-gi bowed slightly and replied modestly, "You flatter me." Just then, a luxury car sped in, freezing the crowd. "Whose car is that? Why did it drive straight here? Damn, this can't be a dream, right?" The F400 can switch between flight and drive modes. It really is an F400 top quality. People buzzed, eyes fixed on the sparkling luxury car. The director smiled and explained, "We highly value talent like Chu-gi. We've specially sent a luxury car to pick you up. Within 3 days at the earliest, you'll receive the official results. We'll notify you immediately then."
Chu-gi bowed in thanks.
Meanwhile, Principal La Hang approached and kindly said, "Go rest and await good news from us." The scene cut to the hospital where Chu-gi's sister, Chu Van, was being treated. Instead of going home, he hurried straight to the hospital to see his sister. In their last phone call, Chu-gi had promised to take good care of her. That promise was now coming true. Chu Van had been moved into the most luxurious medical suite with a professional team monitoring her condition around the clock. When Chu-gi entered the hospital, a nurse greeted him warmly. "Hello, sir. You're here." With a bright smile, she added, "Money really does make people more attentive." Chu-gi smiled and replied, "You're right. I'm here to see Chu Van. I have good news to tell her." In the elevator, the nurse asked curiously, "I heard you had a big exam today. Your result must be great, right?" But when the elevator doors closed, the air suddenly turned icy, as if a frost had spread everywhere. The nurse shivered, her voice trembling. "How strange. Why is it so cold today? Is the air conditioning set too low?" The elevator stopped on the 26th floor. When the doors opened, a horrifying scene unfolded. The entire corridor was frozen, white ice covering it like a curtain of death. The nurse panicked, nearly wetting herself as she stammered, "What's happening?" Worse still, the other doctors and nurses were frozen solid, frozen in poses as if trying to flee before the frost trapped them. Chu-gi immediately worried for Chu Van's safety. Without hesitation, he dashed toward his sister's room. The nurse shouted his name but could not stop him. In an instant, she too was swallowed by the frost, turned into a cold statue. Like lightning, Chu-gi swung the enormous bronze axe, smashing through the icy wall blocking his way. He roared, Chu Van, in front of him, a gigantic ice dragon appeared, its eyes glittering with murderous intent as it stared at him. Inside the room, a mysterious girl was performing magic, an ethereal aura of mana swirling around her. Unclear whether she was trying to save or harm Chu Van. Suddenly, the ice dragon lunged forward, aiming straight at Chu Gi. He immediately channeled energy into his arm, ready to strike back. But at that moment, the girl shouted, "Chu Gi, stop! Don't attack!" Her voice trembled with urgency. That ice dragon is the magic that exists within that girl's body. Hearing the girl's shout, Chu Gi immediately stopped, his eyes sharpening as he looked ahead. He recognized the person opposite as Sister Tan and stepped forward slowly. She said in a low voice, while restraining that bone ice dragon, "I think if you recklessly hurt it, Chu Van's heart will also shatter." Chu Gi frowned, full of doubt. Why would such an ice dragon exist inside Chu Van's body? Sister Tan explained gravely that Chu Van's sudden cold outbreak caused the frigid air to spread, freezing people into pillars of ice. She added a warning. "Right now I can only suppress the cold on this floor. You should leave quickly." Chu Gi blurted out in panic. "What about Chu Van?" Sister Tan broke out in a cold sweat, her voice trembling. "Facing this power, without a high-level priest, my options are very limited." Seeing the giant ice dragon with its murderous gleaming eyes, Chu Gi gradually realized he had to act. Without hesitation, he activated the system, pouring all his skill points into slow recovery. The system announced, slow recovery skill increased from level 4 to level 10, allowing party members within a certain range to gradually recover physique and magical power, with effects lasting for a specified duration. Immediately, Chu Gi cast the skill, releasing a radiant aura of mana. Holy light filled the room, shattering the ice that imprisoned Sister Tan. She cried in alarm. "Does the Holy Knight's skill and magic contain such potent mana? It even surpasses a level 23 priest like me. Unbelievable." As slow recovery spread, the hardened ice began to crack and break apart. Mana seeped deep into Chu Van's body, gradually stabilizing her condition. Chu Gi quickly turned to Sister Tan and said firmly, "I'll stay and support you. Notify Secretary True, I want to meet him. We must get a high-level priest here." Sister Tan, anxious, replied, "The high-level priest schedule is very busy. Secretary True had an appointment with Chu Van next week, but now it may be too late." In the emergency, Chu Gi urged decisively, "Sister Tan, contact Secretary True immediately. If we can get the high-level priest here, I'll comply unconditionally with any terms. Absolutely no lies." His bold words made Sister Tan think inwardly, he's reliable. There was no other option. She nodded. "Let's give it a try," Sister Tan added in a sorrowful tone. "The cold chi flare-ups are what Chu Van endures every night for the past year." Under the influence of Yin cold, the girl's whole body suffered unbearable pain. Living was worse than dying. Recently the Yin cold had worsened and unexpectedly spread outward. Indeed, after long treatment, Chu Van's condition became increasingly critical. Chu Gi's body began to stiffen as the frost crept through his flesh. He hadn't expected the cold chi to be strong enough to affect the space outside the hospital. Even though he had poured in all his strength, the cold remained, gradually enveloping almost his entire body. Still, Chu Gi gritted his teeth and gave his all to save his sister. The bone ice dragon exhaled a frigid breath toward him, as if trying to freeze his very soul, its eyes glittering with killing intent. Suddenly, a magic orb flashed into being and flew over, continuously striking the dragon. After a series of attacks, the orb transformed into a magical chain that instantly bound the dragon's entire body. The mana inside the dragon erupted violently, brilliant light flooding the room and enveloping Chu Van's body. As the spell concluded, the female priest slammed her staff to the ground, dispelling the icy cold. She looked at Chu Gi and smiled with poise. "You think your body is weak? The mana from these artifacts is spreading everywhere." Then she continued, "So you're Chu Gi? I've heard of you for a long time. Now we finally meet. Not bad." Having spoken, she immediately cast a spell. The frozen doctors and nurses were all released, returning to normal, their eyes full of astonishment and gratitude. The female priest smiled and introduced herself. I am Doi Leet Na, a level 35 transitioning priest of Con Van City.
Chu nghi meditan bao et red pet phun. Chu nghi greet you.
He couldn't help but be surprised by her extraordinary power. Doi Leet Na continued. Director Dao specifically requested I come to treat your sister. If he hadn't told me this person could defeat the provincial champion, I wouldn't have broken protocol. She added that in the game Eternal, many players choose different races like the spirit race, giant race, or demon race, making the world more diverse than ever. Hearing this, Chugi asked nervously, his voice trembling, Teacher, what illness does my sister have? Can it be cured? Drawing on her extensive experience, Doi Leet Na answered, This is a phenomenon where cold chi invades and forms a mist, a sign of bloodline awakening. Those words startled Chugi, his heart pounding. A bloodline awakening? He recalled when Eternal launched. Only those with extraordinary power could withstand such cold chi for long. Director Dao wouldn't deceive me either, Chugi thought. Doi Leet Na elaborated. When the game merged with reality, heterodox players brought characteristic bloodlines. For example, those with spirit bloodlines have azure eyes and slightly long ears. The giant bloodline can make bodies 3 or 4 meters tall. Over the past 200 years, through intermarriage between heterodox races and humans, foreign traits have gradually faded, except in special cases when the bloodline awakens. She looked at Chugi, her voice lowering. When a bloodline awakens, blessing and disaster go hand in hand. If you successfully control heterodox power, leveling and learning skills becomes twice as effective for half the effort. But if you fail, you could be paralyzed at best and die instantly at worst. Your sister, Chu Van, has endured the torment of cold chi too long because her body is too weak to contain the bloodline's power. Doi Leet Na looked at Chu Gi, her tone calm but grave. If I'm not mistaken, she has awakened a rare ice-cold bloodline. To adapt to this bloodline, her physiology must be changed. As far as I know, only a legendary treasure called the Extreme Cold Ice Lotus can alter a human body. It's exceedingly precious and not available on the market. The last time it appeared was 30 years ago at an auction, bought by a mysterious buyer for 1.3 billion. She paused, eyes full of worry. In 3 months, the cold chi in your sister's body will fully erupt and become uncontrollable. Another method is to use a grand sealing technique to directly seal the heterodox bloodline. You can use a token to contact me after you decide. However, the cost is that she will no longer be able to advance in the future. Time passed quickly. 5 days went by. Chu Gi continued training diligently, getting accustomed to his razor-sharp axe. The system announced, squats 200/200, push-ups 200/200, deadlifts 200 to 200, weapon use 200/200, daily tasks completed. Please choose your reward. Without hesitation, Chu Gi chose free attribute points. For a holy knight, physique and intelligence are core, but he didn't neglect other stats. He usually applied a 2:3 distribution across the 4 main attributes to ensure balanced growth and minimize mistakes. Unexpectedly, the system issued a new notification. Exam results have been released. Task complete. Congratulations on achieving first place in this major competition. Rewards will be granted based on performance. Congratulations. You have obtained S-rank skill, Divine Hand. Congratulations. You have obtained a 3-stage S-rank Divine Beast. Congratulations. You have acquired the S-rank Heavenly Art. Congratulations. You have received 30 free attribute points. Congratulations. You have received 30 skill points. Congratulations. You have obtained a rare A-rank skill. Chugi stood stunned, murmuring, These rewards? I just trained a little and they reward so much? Television continuously reported on Chugi, the top scholar of Lijiang City, likening his power to a ferocious lion. Astonishingly, this provincial #1 student had only reached level 10 when he conquered the dungeon raid. The transfer of power caused a shock. The provincial top scholar title unexpectedly went to someone no one suspected. A newly published article emphasized Chu Gi's superior strength. asserting that he was truly the brightest star of the competition. At the press conference, Director Dao Din Dac responded to reporters. When Chu-gi changed professions and became a holy knight, I knew this boy would become a master. That's why I proposed the city government increase training for Chu-gi. All thanks to my keen eye. In a crowded restaurant, people excitedly discussed his achievements. One person exclaimed in surprise, "What's going on? The provincial top scholar is a holy knight? This isn't a pay-to-win game. How can that be?" Another shook his head. "I don't read much. Don't joke with me. Holy knights clear dungeons slowly. Level 10 beating the nightmare dungeon? Are you kidding? Is it cheating?" Just then someone pulled out a phone. Excited, "They have video of that moment." The footage and facts showed Chu-gi truly possessed ferocious power. Rumor had it his holy light cross could rival an advanced fire mage's spells, or the blessing god's benediction and the courage blessing. Another person laughed loudly. "Who'll help me count how many muscle segments this provincial top scholar has?" Meanwhile, in a private room, a red-haired man and a robot watched the news about Chu-gi intently. The red-haired man muttered, eyes sparkling, "It's all thanks to my discerning eye." He couldn't believe Chu-gi cleared the dungeon in just 9 minutes 24 seconds. 20 seconds faster than him. He roared in fury, grinding his teeth. "This Chu-gi is interesting. He dares to steal my glory." His rage exploded, causing the nearby robot to explode in a ball of smoke and fire. With cold eyes, he swore to make Chu-gi pay for daring to challenge him. The scene cut to Chu-gi. A message had just been sent. Notice from Lijiang City Government. 5 million yuan has been transferred to your account 702013. Please check and receive. Immediately another message followed. Notice from Lijiang City Education Department. 2 million yuan has been transferred to your account 702013. Please check and receive. Astonished by the huge sum, Chu-gi immediately called Secretary True, urgently asking, "What's this about?" Secretary True calmly explained, "Mr. Chu, after recognizing your excellence in the major exam, the government awarded you 5 million in cash and a luxury villa. Do you like this villa? Or shall we choose another for you?" Chu-gi pondered, realizing they knew he was the provincial top scholar. He replied, cheeks flushing slightly, "Please help me choose." Secretary True hurriedly answered, "I've heard recruitment officers from the top 3 universities are coming. Shall I send a car to take you to the schools?" Chu-gi politely declined, "No need. They're already here." Just then a man stepped forward, handed a business card and said, "Classmate Chu-gi. Hello? I'm an admissions officer from Vin Duong University." Chu-gi frowned in puzzlement. "What's Vin Duong University?" Suddenly a distant voice rang out reproachfully. "Watch out! I remember Vin Duong University once said classmate Chu-gi is too arrogant." No one expected the man in black, the admissions officer, to arrive by helicopter to greet Chu-gi. The crowd buzzed. Some commented, "Classmate Chu-gi really doesn't know his place. Why did they come again today?" The admissions officer hurriedly explained, Tru Tien couldn't see Mount Tai and was dismissed from the school. He turned to Chu-gi, full of enthusiasm. "If you choose Vin Duong University, we are willing to pay 4 million yuan." At that moment, a muscular man descended from a helicopter, booming a more attractive offer. "Whatever Vin Duong offers, Moto University will pay double." He looked at Chu-gi with confident eyes. "Chu-gi, Moto University is the best choice. You should come back with us soon. Your future will be broader." The Vin Duong admissions officer turned red with anger at being publicly outplayed by his rival. Suddenly, a girl appeared, her eyes cold as if determined to claim Chu-gi at any cost. In an instant she sprouted enormous wings, wrapped around Chu-gi and shot into the sky. The crowd stood stunned as she shouted, "Did you ask Peking University's opinion before trying to take him?" Her terrifying power sent the admissions officer sprawling, while Tru Tien could only stand helplessly as Chu-gi was snatched away. Up in the air, the girl drew close and whispered a tempting offer into Chu-gi's ear. "Classmate Chu, Peking University lacks nothing in cultivation resources. We'll provide all resources for 4 years of university. and each year supply an additional A-grade cultivation resource. Before she finished, a magic circle suddenly fired straight at her. She flinched, then quickly regrew her wings and wrapped around Chu-gi to shield him. Another voice rang out challengingly. The top scholar's choice is resources, prestige, and reputation. Whatever Tonkin University can offer, Tahang University can match. Show your strength right now. If you don't let him go, don't blame me for being rude. From below, Tru Tianfu suddenly shouted, excited. That's right. That's right. Forcing someone isn't a good thing. Classmate Chu-gi, our Tianfu University not only provides A-grade resources each year, but also supplies full golden equipment. He glanced at the winged girl with a provocative look. The winged girl, clearly annoyed, forced out, "You people really are out of tricks." Then she turned to Chu-gi, her tone softening. "I don't want to force anyone. I just want to get a little closer to classmate Chu-gi." A friendly exchange. "Classmate Chu-gi, please choose." Just then, a girl in black stepped forward, confidently introduced herself and joined the contest. Tahang University honors strength to become kings. If you strive at our school and climb the rankings, not only A-grade resources but even S-grade ones can be attainable. Moreover, after nearly 3 years of exchanges, Tahang University has consistently remained at the top. That proves our school produces the finest students. She spoke with pride. The pink-haired girl, representing Sun Nam University, angrily retorted, "Tamai, what do you mean? Getting cocky just from winning a few matches?" "Tamai," the girl in black, replied calmly, "I only want teachers and students to clearly see the competition between us. Tahang University's victory is indisputable." Chu-gi stood in silence, thinking. The 3 top universities weren't far apart in reputation, but each had its own strengths. Choosing a school was a pivotal decision, and he wanted a place that would best develop his combat capabilities. After careful consideration, he made a decision that stunned the others. Chu-gi looked directly at Tamai and said decisively, "I choose Tahang University." As soon as Chu-gi announced his choice, Tamai smiled radiantly and produced a contract shimmering with magical light. "This is to university's special contract. Take a look. If there's no issue, sign it," she said confidently. Tru Tianfu and the pink-haired Sun Nam representative could only sigh in regret. Once again, Tahang University had secured the student. The pink-haired girl muttered in dissatisfaction, while Tru Tianfu refused to give up. "If you don't like Tahang, quickly transfer to Tianfu University then." Tamai ignored him and softly chanted a spell. The pen on the table flew up and wrote exquisite strokes on the contract without anyone touching it.
Chuni stay in Amagen.
Magic without a wand. That's a skill only high-level mages can master. He thought to himself and asked curiously, "Teacher 2, what level mage are you?" Tamai smiled gently and replied, "I'm a level 42 mage." Chu-gi was startled. She looked young, not even 30 perhaps, yet had reached such an astonishing level. The world was truly vast. He inwardly vowed that at Tahang he'd surely encounter even more young powerhouses. Without hesitation, Chu-gi signed the contract, filled with confidence. With the system, he really couldn't find rivals among his peers. At Tahang University, he'd surely meet worthy opponents to grow stronger, he thought, eyes flashing with resolve. Tamai watched him and lightly curled her lips. "Interesting, boy. Your fighting spirit seems to lack something, but I believe you'll make up for it." The moment his signature was complete, a magic circle flashed and engraved Chu-gi's name onto the contract. Mysterious light burst forth, signaling the agreement's success. Tamai looked at him seriously. "All right, pack your things within a week. I'll come pick you up in a week to enroll." Chu-gi asked, somewhat surprised, "To university arranges pickup that early?" Tamai laughed and revealed, "Of course. The university wants to receive you a week early under the highest training regimen. Your power will increase faster, so you can perform better in the National University Student Exchange Competition." The scene shifted to a magnificent villa, where Secretary Tru Van Ban was leading Chu-gi's family inside. Chu Van still sat in her wheelchair, looking up at the lavish house, her eyes sparkling with amazement. What a huge room, she exclaimed joyfully. When she noticed a strange device in the corner, she laughed and turned to Sister Tan. This is the latest nano-level smart robot. Secretary Chu smiled and stepped forward to introduce. Mr. Chu, this is the villa the city government gifted you. 3 stories. The second floor has professional training rooms. The third floor has a rooftop and a large relaxation area, with nearly 1,000 square meters in total. I won't stay long. Please, you and Miss Chu relax. Chu-gi nodded slightly, but as Tru Van Ban was about to leave, he quickly called him back. Wait a moment. I have something to ask of you. He looked at his sister, voice low. Chu Van hasn't fully recovered. Her body is still weak, even with Sister Tan caring for her. I hope you can help look after her for a short time. Secretary Tru immediately nodded and replied, It would be my pleasure. Before I leave, rest assured and leave Miss Chu in my care. If any difficulties arise, call me directly. He turned to Chu Van and instructed, Pastor Thoy always reminds you to eat on time each week. Don't skip meals. Every day have Sister Tan check your health. In a few days, Secretary Tru will arrange for you to go to school. You must obey him. Chu Van heard this, yawned boredly and mumbled, I know already. Seeing her like that, Chu-gi smiled and lightly pinched his sister's cheek. She grimaced and cried out, It hurts. It hurts. When they got into the car with Tamai to leave, Chu-gi still looked back, his gaze lingering on his sister. Tamai asked curiously, Is this your first time leaving home? He nodded briefly. Yes. Tamai smiled, speaking seriously. You need to be prepared. To Hang University will be a challenging journey. Chu-gi nodded, eyes blazing with determination, ready to face the future. In an instant, Tamai slammed the gas pedal, and the car shot off at a dizzying speed that startled Chu-gi, his heart pounding. The car passed through the time gate, light flashing as if tearing space apart. Before long, they had arrived in a Ning city, home of Tahang University. A stream of vehicles carrying new students poured into the campus, kicking off the grandest admissions season. Chu-gi's car also rolled through the time gate. The strange smell in the air made him briefly panic, thinking, I might miss spring back home. But he quickly calmed himself. No rush, he told himself. Tamai led him out of the car and explained, Large-scale teleportation arrays are usually used by the military. Even priests who want to use small teleportation arrays must get city government approval. Tahang University, cooperating with the military district, built a large teleportation array near campus, convenient and safe. Chu-gi looked up at the surroundings, unable to help being overwhelmed by the magnificence of Tahang University. The campus's scale far exceeded imagination. Thousands of new students hurried in, full of energy like a lively river of people. Tamai smiled and moved forward. Chu-gi, I'll take you to register and show you around a few places. But suddenly a figure flashed past him like lightning. Thanks to his quick reflexes, Chu-gi managed to dodge. He saw a young man hurled forward by a powerful kick from a woman. The girl's eyes were cold, as if shrouded in deathly intent. She shouted loudly, I told you, I don't want to get acquainted with you. Then she coldly strode through the crowd, her voice steely. That kick was only a warning. Don't provoke me. I won't hold back next time. The boys around fell silent. No one dared speak up. The young man was kicked away, foaming at the mouth, and rolled onto the ground. The crowd immediately buzzed with talk. Dang Thieu ran into La Sat this time. Every opening ceremony he lures the junior girls. Finally he met his match. Someone laughed loudly. Heaven has eyes. Another student chimed in, eyes full of satisfaction. Chu-gi stood silently observing, weighing things in his mind. Tamai noticed his look and lightly explained, Kwang So Nin. She carries heteromorphic blood. At Tahang University, quite a few students and teachers have heteromorphic blood. If you encounter them later, don't reveal any unusual reactions. Chu-gi nodded, his gaze calm. Don't worry. Even if they are all heteromorphic, as long as they side with humans, I won't hate or kill them. I won't lose my mind and hate all heteromorphs just because of my father's death. He replied, voice low but firm. Tamai heard this and smiled with satisfaction. That's good. Here is your student ID, she said, flicking her hand. A flash of magical flame covered the card and quickly faded, leaving the ID shimmering with mysterious light. Chu-gi took it, skimmed the information, and slightly frowned. Credit order, he muttered, a hint of doubt in his eyes. The two continued walking. To my knee began to explain, I'll go over the school's regulations. First is ranking. Each year the school ranks students based on ability. The higher the ability, the higher the rank. For new students, initial ranking is based on university entrance exam results. Being first means you're the strongest new student, but it's only temporary. A month later, there will be a contest among new students. The rankings will be updated based on those results. From today on, you'll become a target. Everyone wants to take your position. Chu-gi curled his lip, eyes flashing with excitement. Fighting was exactly what he wanted. If I'm the valedictorian, I won't let this position be taken, he declared confidently, a fire unquenchable. To my knee continued guiding him, her tone calm but authoritative. Next is the rule about credits. New students receive basic credits based on the serial number of their student ID. Credits are used to buy food, equipment, medicine, skill books, and many other things. With enough credits, you can purchase any item, even skills or S-grade resources. She stopped and looked at Chu-gi. There are two ways to earn credits. First, register tasks through your student ID on the system page. Complete appropriate tasks to receive the corresponding credits. Second, earn fixed credits based on your monthly rankings on the Earth board and the Heaven board. She led him up a tall tower where they could see the teleportation gates to the secret instances. Tahang University has about 1,000 students. Those who want to get onto the Earth or Heaven boards must follow the rules and not be arrogant, she emphasized. Chu-gi nodded concisely. I understand. To my knee pointed toward the instance gates glittering with magical light. Also, the school has 3 instance dungeons. The second instance is the Distorting Tree Forest, level range 23 to 26. The third instance is the Forge Prison, level range 28 to 31. To enter, you need to meet the required level and pay a certain amount of credits. Before reaching the required level, you can train in the practice area, facing real people or robots. She added, top fighters here hold absolute sway and abundant resources. This is the path to survival. Hearing this, Chu-gi's eyes lit with excitement. I like this place, he thought, filled with fighting spirit. Just then, a group of students passing the training area recognized to my knee and Chu-gi. They buzzed, and one of them laughed loudly. Wow, I heard Dang Thew ran into La Sat this time. The laughter made the atmosphere lively, but Chu-gi's gaze remained cold and unmoved. To my knee sighed softly, a trace of fatigue in her voice. Tough luck. Then she continued explaining the school's rules to Chu-gi, her tone calm but authoritative. The surrounding students looked at him with gleaming respect. A few whispered, who is he that the teacher is escorting him? We're all being led on tours in groups of 5. Why is he walking alone? Chu-gi heard it but didn't bother to explain. He just walked on silently, composed. Suddenly another group of students approached, led by Vong Loi Han. He shouted, so you guys didn't know? The valedictorian of the intake will be escorted by a teacher for special enrollment procedures. One reason is to help them quickly get used to the school environment. The other is to attract future top students when choosing a school. The girl who caused the earlier commotion, Kwang So-nin, was also in the group. Hearing this, she nodded, glanced at Chu-gi and said, then he must be this intake's top scorer. Another student, curious, pushed forward. Bak Hugh is handsome. What's his background? Tell us more. Vong Loi Han laughed loudly and continued. Chu-gi, top scorer of Tahang Province. Sacred Knight level 13. Those words left the students stunned, buzzing with chatter. What? Someone exclaimed in astonishment. There's no mistake. Knight is just a support profession. I clearly remember second place was Tam Nin Fong, warrior level 14. How could a support like him beat a warrior? Another student objected, eyes full of doubt. But the girls in the group swooned. He's so handsome. He could be a celebrity. Someone else snapped irritably, "Hey, what are you saying? Don't you believe me?" Bok Hu's reputation isn't for nothing. Kwang So-nin, the girl with heteromorphic blood, stood silently watching Chu-gi. Her gaze was cold with a hint of jealousy. A young man beside her realized and ground his teeth, whispering, "I think that top spot is just for show, it means nothing." Valedictorian among the new students? Huh. Let's see how long he can hold that spot. Noticing Chu-gi's gaze on him, the young man grew more confident. He stepped forward, puffed out his chest, and introduced himself. "Knight Lu Kin, level 13 student, rank 38. I doubt you have what it takes to be first. I want to challenge you." Right after the declaration, another student from behind patted Lu Kin's shoulder in a steady voice. "Classmate, arranging challenges is a private matter. Don't delay everyone." Chu-gi stood silently, thinking, "This idiot is supposed to help new students earn credits for me. So what are you causing trouble for?" But Lu Kin remained resolute, brushing off the other student and stepping closer to Chu-gi. "Sorry guys, I'll keep it secret," he said, confident but with a provocative look. A nearby teacher, hearing this, couldn't help but be angry. This idiot. Rank 1 is decided by the principal and teachers from the 5 major schools. It cannot be wrong. He thought to himself, but let Lu Kin continue to make a fool of himself. Let him act foolish a bit and he'll reap the consequences. The surrounding students grew excited and began chatting. One whispered to a senior, "This will be fun to watch. Let's wait a bit longer." Another student laughed loudly. "Lu Kin wants to challenge the top to boost his fame? Sacred Knight isn't a strong profession. It's not surprising he'd try to steal the top spot." Lu Kin approached Chu-gi calmly but challengingly. "So what do you base your acceptance of my challenge on?" Chu-gi curled a lip, his eyes flashing cunning. Lu Kin blustered, "1 credit. If I lose, that credit is yours. If you lose, it's no big deal." Chu-gi looked at the crowd, recognizing the curious and taunting gazes all focused on him. He thought to himself, "These chickens just want to make trouble. But for peace later, I must accept the challenge. I'll kill the chicken to scare the monkeys, so they remember this lesson." He stared straight at Lu Kin, voice cold. "Your stake is too low. 300 credits. If you have them, I'll fight you." Chu-gi's raised stakes declaration turned Lu Kin pale, a flicker of fear passing through him. The crowd buzzed. One student whispered, "I'm rank 40, and it only costs about 400 credits. Lu Kin at 38 probably isn't much different. If he loses, even slightly, it'll be brutal." Another interjected, "Challenging so early in the term. He's clearly not an ordinary supporting character." But despite his worry, Lu Kin still glanced toward Kwang So-nin, the girl he liked, wanting to use this chance to impress her. "I'm hesitating. I don't know what to do," he mumbled, voice full of hesitation. Chu-gi suddenly turned, pretending to leave. "If you won't dare, then I'm off," he said, eyes glinting with craftiness. Lu Kin gritted his teeth, no way out, and shouted, 300 it is. Let's go to the arena." Chu-gi sneered, looking at his opponent like a fish on a chopping block. "You have some nerve, but there's no need to go up to the ring," he replied, brimming with momentum. "If you don't kneel within 3 moves, I'll concede." Both quickly stepped onto the arena. To my knee, stern-faced, stood as referee. "Count down 3 seconds, then you may start. But under no circumstances may you kill the opponent," she reminded them in a sharp voice. After the 3-second countdown, Chu-gi's and Lu Kin's eyes met, cold as ice, fearless. Lu Kin, calling himself the Close Combat King, lunged forward like lightning, intending to finish the fight in 1 strike. But his expression tightened as he realized the weakness of the Punisher Knight class. Both were knights, but Lu Kin's Punisher leaned toward violent offense, while Chu-gi's Sacred Knight excelled at support. As long as Chu-gi doesn't switch to rapid attack mode, I can easily beat him, Lu Kin calculated inwardly, gripping his blade and charging with fierce momentum. Meanwhile, he glanced at Kwang So-nin, eyes burning with determination. "If I restore my honor, she'll see me differently," he thought. He shouted, activated his blood rage skill, and unleashed a powerful downward sword strike. Chu-gi, you're finished, he roared confidently, full of vigor, but facing the sharp blood-imbued hurtling toward him, Chu-gi remained unervingly calm. As Lu Qin closed in, he slipped aside with lightning speed and then delivered a powerful strike. The Sacred Knight's power erupted, sending Lu Qin flying like a brick, crashing into the wall. A thunderous explosion rang out, rocks and dust scattering. The outcome of the duel laid bare before everyone. Exhausted, Lu Qin knelt motionless, blood pouring, looking pitifully miserable. The battle ended so quickly the crowd stood stunned. Chu-gi shook his head slightly, evaluating inwardly. I thought he could take 3 moves. I didn't expect him to fall in one. A nearby student whispered in astonishment. We thought the opponent had a special move. Who knew he couldn't even withstand one attack? Amid the dust, someone stepped forward cautiously to check if Lu Qin was still breathing. A bespectacled student hurried to report to my knee. The opponent has 5 broken ribs. Internal bleeding, currently unconscious. To my knee waved her hand, voice cold. Let the priest tend to the injured. Then she turned to Chu-gi and produced the credit card. 300 credits have been transferred to your student card, she said, eyes briefly showing admiration. The surrounding crowd continued buzzing about the lightning-fast duel. Punisher Knight's sudden advance, blood rage erupting continuously, normally hard to stop. One person exclaimed, with a single light strike, Chu-gi felled Lu Qin. That's the power of the top-ranked. Another student gasped, isn't that too strong? A different voice interjected, eyes full of admiration. The girl widened her eyes in amazement at Chu-gi's overwhelming power. Their strength attributes must differ by at least 20 points. She thought, eyes sparkling with admiration mixed with challenge. Stepping up determinedly, she called out loudly, Chu-gi, please fight me. Since entering Tahang University, her attention had been captured by him. Knowing she carried demonic blood, Chu-gi frowned slightly, realizing she not only had heteromorphic blood, but also held an heirloom weapon. First time seeing an heirloom weapon, I want to test its power a bit, he thought, his sharp gaze settling on her weapon. The sword in Kwang So-nin's hand was Ko-am Noyet, a 3-star heirloom quality blade, restricted to the Terran race and the swordsman profession, containing a mysterious effect. Without hesitation, Chu-gi accepted the challenge. The two stepped onto the arena, tension hanging in the air. He opened the system and drew out the Huin Kwang War Mace, a 3-star gold quality weapon that granted plus 18 Constitution and plus 24 Intelligence, with an effect that raised all light skills below rank B by 1 tier. The crowd below erupted, buzzing with comment. Oh, freshmen are already clashing. Just chickens pecking each other. Someone laughed loudly. At that moment, a debonair young man stepped forward. Lai Dongtang, minister of the Aurora Club, rank 29. He bowed to my knee. Hello, Teacher 2. What brings you here? The countdown clock began to run, signaling the duel was about to start. When the time struck, Kwang So-nin drew Ko-am Noyet. The blade flashed with electricity. She surged forward like a gale, using the skill Shadow Strike to attack Chu-gi with lightning speed. A sharp thrust aimed straight at him carried an unstoppable force. Chu-gi gathered his strength and unleashed an explosive punch with the Huin Kwang War Mace, the 3-star gold weapon granting plus 18 Constitution and plus 24 Intelligence. The power from both sides collided, producing a terrifying explosion as brilliant light illuminated the entire arena. Both Chu-gi and Kwang So-nin were pushed back, their bodies radiating formidable presence. Kwang So-nin gripped Ko-am Noyet as it crackled with electricity, sensing the opponent's tremendous power. It's like a monster, she thought, eyes flashing with astonishment and resolve. She activated Dark Chi Slash, the blade erupting with shadow magic, sending a sharp dark attribute strike straight at Chu-gi. He curled his lips into a mysterious smile. Still holding some restraint, he inwardly felt more excited than ever. Good. Finally someone dares to face me head-on, he shouted provocatively and charged on, constantly challenging. Come and taste danger. Kwang So-nin regarded him as arrogant, nimbly dodging to avoid the attack. She immediately counterattacked, unleashing the skill Triple Rift Slash. A powerful upward cut generated razor-like shockwaves that sent everything around flying. She didn't stop there. She executed Ice Mountain Strike, lowering her stance and lunging forward to slam Ko-Am Noyet into the ground. The attack detonated in multiple stages, the final slam powerful enough to topple an enemy. But Chu-Gi, with lightning-fast agility, still stood firm, his eyes burning with fighting spirit. The crowd below the arena gaped, eyes wide at the fierce duel between Chu-Gi and Kwang So-nin. "Are these really two students fighting?" someone exclaimed in amazement. Lai Dong-tang observed silently with sharp eyes. He judged that a bonded spirit swordsman like Kwang So-nin would lose quickly without a trump card. A bespectacled young man nearby immediately objected. "What? I think they're evenly matched." Lai Dong-tang shook his head, remaining calm. He analyzed that initially Dao Van was merely defending, bolstering her block to absorb frontal damage. She had blocked one of the Sacred Knight's 3 strikes. But when Chu-Gi delivered 2 additional consecutive blows, she was forced to use Ko-Am Noyet to brace herself. A massive weapon like Chu-Gi's Huin Kwang War Mace combined offense and defense. He tried not to swing it excessively to preserve endurance. Lai Dong-tang thought inwardly, eyes flashing with acuity. He realized Chu-Gi didn't care about conserving energy at all. Either he was stupid or he was utterly confident in his abilities. Chu-Gi's war mace continuously restricted Kwang So-nin's movement, preventing her from being as agile as a bonded spirit swordsman. Pressed, she had to draw her sword to block the storm of attacks. Despite her beauty, Kwang So-nin held nothing back, pouring full force into each strike. However, a mighty blow from the Huin Kwang War mace struck like thunder. She was shoved back dozens of meters, her body shaking, unable to resist. If a brave knight dares to face him like that, it's truly bold. A student whispered, eyes full of admiration mixed with astonishment. Suddenly, Chu-Gi stunned the entire arena by revealing that he had only been warming up until now. Now he would truly act. He opened the system and activated a series of skills. Angel's Gift, Weapon Blessing, Dawn's Blessing, and Guardian's Present. As the skills activated, a dazzling golden light burst forth, unleashing terrifying power that surged straight toward Kwang So-nin. Facing this overwhelming momentum, the pink-haired girl gradually realized this was his pinnacle state. Chu-Gi casually waved his hand and cast the skill spear of victory, Demon Shadow Slash. He moved with lightning speed and unleashed a powerful strike that tore through the ground, creating a tremor. Kwang So-nin, thanks to her sharp reflexes, narrowly avoided the killing blow. Seeing her try to close in, Chu-Gi curled his lip in a sneer. "I knew you'd use this trick." A blinding golden light suddenly flared before Kwang So-nin, leaving her stunned. Before she could react, Chu-Gi drove the Huin Kwang War mace in close with speed too fast to parry. Kwang So-nin could only stand frozen, silently praying. Then, unexpectedly, he stopped, his gaze radiating mercy. "Do you want to continue?" he asked, voice deep, steady, and authoritative. Kwang So-nin hadn't expected Chu-Gi to be so merciful. She looked at him like a hero gleaming with gold. She knew her place, stood up, and shook her head to refuse to continue. The outcome wouldn't change, she thought, eyes showing clear respect. Chu-Gi's overwhelming power had completely subdued her.
Chu-Gi Flowens Fly, Assessing in Wali.
She still hadn't used her full strength. The skills of a bonded spirit swordsman and the potential within her demonic bloodline seemed not to have been unleashed in this fight. Meanwhile, Kwang So-nin suddenly broke into a radiant smile, eyes sparkling. "You've seen through me. It was just a trial. I certainly won't use my trump card," she teased. She then took out her phone and looked at Chu-Gi meaningfully. "Besides, you haven't used your full power either. I've watched your audition video. Add a friend. We can discuss things later. Okay?" Chu-Gi paused for a few seconds, surprised that this strong girl had actively asked for contact information. "Didn't expect a pretty girl to ask for my number," he thought, the corner of his mouth twitching upward. After exchanging phone numbers, Kwang So-nin left happily, her steps light but unchallenged by anyone. Chu-Gi turned to my knee and suggested continuing their journey. She immediately nodded, eyes showing amusement. earning 600 credits on opening day and exciting the entire freshman class. You're really interesting, Chu-gi, Hermione thought. She led him to the mountain dormitory area and explained, the new students' dormitory is on the small mountain peak. Ordinary students live at the foot and slopes, while specially admitted students have independent villas on the summit. The luxury and facilities depend on ranking, with only minor differences. She stopped before a magnificent villa and declared solemnly, from now on you'll live here. Chu-gi took out his student card and swiped it lightly to open the door. Upon entering, he couldn't help but be overwhelmed by the luxurious space. Everything radiated class, befitting his top scorer status. Hermione looked at Chu-gi as if reading his thoughts. I heard you're searching for the extreme cold ice lotus, right? She asked calmly but with heavy implication. The question startled Chu-gi. He hadn't expected her to know his intention. Hermione continued, a squad in the Wind Mountain vein once encountered the extreme cold ice lotus. However, there were high-level magical beasts guarding it, so they withdrew. That report was from 6 years ago. I can't vouch for its accuracy. Back at the villa, Chu-gi immediately booted up his computer to look up information on the Wind Mountain vein. With just a few clicks, he found relevant data. The Wind Mountain vein was a vast mountain range formed after the Eternal Tour game merged with Lam Tin, stretching over a huge area. It harbored countless precious terrestrial treasures and rare herbs, but was also teeming with ferocious magical beasts. Even third-tier professionals dared not venture in lightly. Although Chu-gi knew the danger, he remained undaunted. Instead, he began calculating inwardly. With my current strength, if I meet a high-level magical beast, my only option is to run to save my life. However, he quickly recalled the system rewards after completing quests and the life-saving skill test that allowed resurrection even upon death. His fighting will ignited, and he didn't hesitate to click, opening the system to buy more skills and gear in preparation for the upcoming journey. Immediately, a list flashed across the system screen displaying numerous skills and equipment. Holy Light Hammer, Holy Light Protector recognized you as special admission number 001. A-type Sacred Knight skills could be learned for free. Notifications kept popping up. Holy Light Shield Pierce, Holy War Reappearance, Holy Light Wind Orb, Holy Healing. With each scroll of the mouse, Chu-gi quickly confirmed learning skills that granted immunity to physical and mental damage, as well as a ranged attack skill that required no weapon. Amazing, he thought to himself, unable to contain his joy. Excellent. His shout echoed through the room, but very quickly Chu-gi calmed himself and muttered, nothing is truly free. Although A-rank skills were learned for free, he still had to spend credits to claim the jungle set rewarded from the exam. After a few operations, Chu-gi possessed the new gear set and was ready to head to the Wind Mountain vein. No sooner had he set foot in the range than an earth-shattering explosion roared, a surge of force that immediately caught his attention. What's happening? Go check it out, he told himself, eyes gleaming with excitement. The jungle set he bought with a considerable number of credits helped him almost blend into the wild scenery of the Wind Mountain vein. Just then, his phone suddenly vibrated. The caller was Kwang So-nin, the girl who had asked for his contact earlier. She quietly messaged to get acquainted. I'm Kwang So-nin, hello.
Chu-gi quickly replied, I'm Chu-gi.
Kwang So-nin, shall we train together tomorrow? Chu-gi declined. Can't. I have something to do. Kwang So-nin frowned and asked, going out? Where to? Chu-gi sighed softly over the phone. Wind Mountain vein. Seeing her look sad, her friend beside her curiously asked, what's wrong? Kwang So-nin's eyes showed slight disappointment as she answered, this is the third time. She glanced at her phone and sighed, filled with emotion. Her sparkling eyes revealed to her friend, I met a man. He's very special. Though she kept a calm exterior, she couldn't hide her impression of Chu-gi. Sighing in frustration, she said, yesterday I challenged him and released part of my demonic power during the fight, but he remained completely unmoved, not even a hint of infatuation. Her friend pondered. His will must be terrifyingly strong. Suddenly, Kwang So-nin shouted, startling her friend, I've decided. I want to go to the Wind Mountain vein too. At the same time, at the Wind Mountain vein, An armored vehicle sped at terrifying speed, crashing straight into a magical beast and sending it flying. Not just one, but a host of magical beasts appeared, charging ferociously. The driver was a professional mechanic girl who tossed out a series of explosive bombs. The bombs hit their targets and detonated violently, forming a rain of explosions that shook the entire forest. A nimble magical beast leapt up to avoid the blast, roaring madly as if trying to tear the space apart. In another corner of the forest, Tian, a talented summoner, stood proudly. She waved and summoned the Ice Nanny Spirit, ready to confront the horde of magical beasts. A ribbon of glittering light flared from the spirit, countering each of the monster's attacks. But suddenly another magical beast lunged in at terrifying speed, its sharp claws ready to tear everything apart. Lin, with quick reflexes, pointed toward 9 o'clock and shouted, "Now act fast!" Chu Dan, a veteran gunner, immediately took aim and fired consecutive shots at the horde of beasts. A bullet pierced through, bringing down one of the monsters instantly. Not stopping there, he swung the gun and unleashed bursts like blazing fire, incinerating several beasts until they dissolved into the underbrush. From afar, a magical beast raised its paw to shield itself against the rain of fiery bullets without hesitation. Spotting the weak point, Chuden roared, "Support now!" A streak of blue light flashed and hurtled forward at incredible speed. Lin, the female swordsman, seized the moment to cast Phantom Slash, repeatedly cutting into the beast. Inside the armored vehicle, Chu Thiu, seeing reinforcements arrive, cried out excitedly, "They're here!" But moments later, Tian quickly retreated and summoned the ice spirit again, creating a sturdy ice shield to protect Lin. Suddenly, a massive flame erupted and rushed straight at them. The group froze, stunned by the overwhelming force. The fire shattered Tian's shield, slammed into the vehicle, and gouged out a large crater in the ground. Many vehicles were heavily damaged, and the group of girls collapsed, wounded all over. Only Chu Thiu, exhausted, managed to struggle to his feet while his system blinked severe error warnings. Lin and Tian, eyes panicked, shouted in unison, "Is everyone okay? Be careful!" From behind, a horde of demons appeared, belonging to one of the 5 major extraterrestrial races. They were brutal, bloodthirsty, and liked to hunt and devour living creatures. Tian clenched her fists, determination flashing in her eyes to face the new threat. Facing the savage demons, Chu Gi's squad threw everything into the fight, using every tactic to take down 4 monsters. But now Tian and her teammates seemed at the brink of life and death, wondering if they would truly die here today. One demon roared, gathering strength to unleash a flame that would incinerate the group. Suddenly it spewed a colossal sea of fire aimed directly at Tian's team. At that moment, Chu Gi appeared, riding a wind wolf that tore through the wall of fire at terrifying speed. Unafraid and undeterred, he and the war wolf crossed the blaze, ready to save their teammates. In an instant, Chu Gi activated the skill Holy Tempest. A blinding holy light burst forth, stopping the demon's flames and protecting Tian's group from imminent death. From behind, holy crosses suddenly appeared, spinning wildly to form a chaotic vortex that encircled the monsters. The demons panicked, unable to resist, scorched by the holy light and screaming in excruciating pain. Dark spiritual energy radiated from the demons, but Chu Gi remained unflinching. He continued casting skills, and the storm surged beyond its basic threshold. A terrible invisible power suddenly erupted, completely overwhelming one demon until it could not resist. Seizing the moment, Chu Gi launched a radiant cross, shining like a cosmic explosion. A thunderous blast tore the demon apart in dazzling light, shaking the battlefield. The destructive force of the holy tempest spread, causing the demon to disintegrate instantly as if swallowed by the light. Chu Gi easily defeated a monster, then rode the wind wolf like a triumphant warrior advancing toward the light. The image resembled a peak action movie scene, freezing the surrounding space in a biting chill. The wind wolf roared and unleashed a surge of power, sweeping the remaining demon away and leaving it no chance to resist. After the battle, Chu Gi dismounted and faced the 4 girls of the Tan Lone team. Their eyes sparkled with admiration for his bravery and authority. Earlier, when flames still engulfed the battlefield, the girls had been trembling with worry and fear at the demon's power. But thanks to the continuous restorative spirits from Chu-Gi's skill chain, they quickly recovered as if blessed by a healing miracle. Feeling her strength return, Tan Lin suddenly jolted awake. A sense of unease made her rise from calmness. She hugged on Tian Wan tightly, unable to contain her emotion, and exclaimed, "Chu-Gi, thank you, fellow student. I didn't expect you to know us." Chu-Gi smiled and replied, "The Tan Lone team is one of the school's top 3 squads. It's only natural I know you." Hearing that, Tan Lin laughed, her face flushing slightly with embarrassment. But then she squeezed on Tian Wan's hand, her expression serious as she warned, "Your light attribute skill counters demons, but demons are too dangerous. We should return to the supply base." Chu-Gi pondered and nodded in agreement. "True. Over the past month, we've explored the entire outskirts but found no sign of the extreme cold ice lotus. The convention is in 3 days. We can only wait until it's over and continue searching." After a moment's thought, he decided to return to the base with Tan Lin's group. Tan Lin glanced at Chu Thieu, her eyes conveying something unspoken. Chu Thieu acted immediately, summoning 2 mini robots with his miraculous power. A temporal matrix doorway opened with echoing incantations. A metallic, icy sound rang like the roar of war machines. "Spirit of speed, challenge the metal." A giant spider robot emerged, its body glittering like steel. Both Chu-Gi and the Wind Wolf stared in astonished delight. Even though no more demons appeared, Chu Thieu kept urging, "Hurry up!" Tan Lin watched the display and thought to herself that he acted even better than an Oscar-winning actor. The giant spider robot began to move, leading the group away from the danger zone. Chu-Gi turned and asked, "Senior, have demons always existed in the Wind Mountain Vein?" Tan Lin answered solemnly, "We've been in the Wind Mountain Vein for over 2 months, and this is the first time we've encountered them." Chu-Gi nodded and said in a low voice, "If these evil forces don't originate deep within the Wind Mountain Vein, they very likely escaped from recent interdimensional rifts." Tan Lin nodded in agreement with Chu-Gi's speculation. "Right, we need to return to base and report to the military district immediately." Hearing that, Chu-Gi asked with slight puzzlement, "Doesn't the military district have mage towers monitoring the entire area?" Tan Lin calmly explained, "The Wind Mountain Vein contains countless magical beasts. To prevent them from leaving the area and attacking towns, the army built a supply trade base right at the entrance. The mage tower there constantly monitors the movement directions of magical beasts within the Wind Mountain Vein." She continued, "However, the ranks of these demons are too low." The remark surprised Chu-Gi. He frowned and asked, "Low? A level 20 white-silver demon can't be considered a low-level creature." To explain further, Tan Lin drew on legends and ancient records. The tower mainly monitors epic or legendary tier beasts deep within the Wind Mountain Vein. The interdimensional light they emit is below the concentration threshold the mage tower is set to detect, so they very likely went unnoticed. She paused, then added, "White, silver, and golden ranks are actually the lowest tiers we're facing." Hearing this, Chu-Gi gradually understood and nodded slightly. "So that's it." But Tan Lin still looked worried, her voice slowing. "If they truly came from interdimensional rifts, why would only low-rank demons be sent here?" She pondered, eyes sharp. "Demons do not act without reason. If the military base detects them, they will be destroyed immediately. An interdimensional rift could easily take in level 30 demons, even level 50 and above. Waves of activity from the otherworld would not only be pointless but would also readily reveal the rift's location." Tan Lin shook her head slightly. "Forget it. This isn't for us to ponder. Just bring the news back to base." Elsewhere, the starving demons howled relentlessly, eyes blazing red when they spotted humans before them. They crazily lunged forward hunting prey, attacking with uncontrollable frenzy. From afar, Chu-Gi and Tan Lin suddenly noticed a dazzling force beam striking the ground, accompanied by an earth-shattering explosion that shook the space. They looked at each other, filled with doubt. "What's happening?" Chu-Gi tensed as he sensed a familiar aura.
Thanh lai ni mà đi tàng sao tét. Demon.
Someone is being besieged by fiends over there. Curiosity mixed with worry, Chugi shouted, "You all go on ahead. I'll return right away." Tan Lin cried his name in alarm, hastily blocking him. "We don't even know how many demons are over there. It's too dangerous to go." But Fong Lang roared, its powerful strides charging straight forward, ignoring all warnings. Chu Gi didn't hesitate. He and the war wolf dashed toward the explosion, determined to search for traces of the extreme cold ice lotus. A question rang in his mind. What was that just now? Suddenly Chu Gi realized the familiar power belonged to Kwang So Nin. Why is she here? He wondered, full of suspicion. At the forest's edge, a group of people whispered in low voices. "Over 20 white-silver demons. That girl can't hold out long. Should we help her?" Another sighed, "Or we leave. Even protecting ourselves here is hard. If we can use her to attract the demons and escape, we still have a chance to survive." After that, they all looked ahead with sorrowful eyes. In the distance, a chaotic scene unfolded. Alone, Kwang So Nin stood defiantly against the demons. Each of her sword strokes carried a razor technique. The heirloom blade in her hand radiated a terrifying aura that none dared underestimate. After some fighting, she quickly realized the demons were extremely cunning. They seemed to know her charm's effect was time-limited, so they only surrounded without attacking directly, deliberately prolonging it to wear her down. Suddenly, the demons all went berserk and surged in from every direction. Kwang So Nin immediately realized more than 10 demons had dispersed across the plain. If she cut down 8 in front of her, the ones behind would promptly fill the gap, leaving her no chance to retreat to the supply base. In that life-or-death moment, she swung her blade fiercely, temporarily breaking the encirclement. But she knew well the charm was weakening. Once its power vanished, she would surely fall into peril. Just then, a radiant holy light suddenly illuminated Kwang So Nin's face. From the distance, Chu Gi appeared, unleashing the Thunderlight skill. A thunderous blast resounded. A blinding beam descended like divine judgment, ripping the demons apart. Under that destructive power, each monster disintegrated into dust before Kwang So Nin. In an instant, the plain became a sea of golden smoke, dazzling light filling the space. No demon remained around her. Kwang So Nin stood stunned, utterly unable to comprehend who had wrought this miracle. Immediately after, Chu Gi rode Fong Lang over, his figure majestic like a war god stepping out of holy light. As Chu Gi arrived and noticed some demons still alive, he immediately activated Thunderlight and shouted, "Kwang So Nin, dodge now!" Ahead, a demon leader roared and launched an attack. A crimson, seductive power erupted, so fierce that even Kwang So Nin winced under its terrifying pressure. Chu Gi stood at a distance, quickly thinking of how to save her. At that moment, the demons all transformed simultaneously, and together unleashed the Flame Bloom skill. The fierce fire flared up, incinerating everything around. The demons charged straight at Chu Gi with savage momentum. Kwang So Nin realized their combined strike was terrifying and shouted, "Chu Gi, get away!" That's the cooperative power of the demon tribe. Facing that desperate situation, she bit her lip, thinking inwardly, the evil power has surged. Chu Gi is no match. If I self-destruct, there's probably a 9 in 10 chance to kill them and protect him. But Chu Gi paid no heed to the warning. He and the Wind Wolf charged straight into the demons, ignoring Kwang So Nin's frantic shouts. Suddenly, the demon leader struck a fatal blow, causing the ground to shake violently and crack open in a thunderous explosion. Yet before that evil force, Chu Gi remained undaunted. He yelled and unleashed the Thunderlight skill. The sky instantly lit up. Blinding bolts descended like an angel's wrath, scattering the demons until they exploded everywhere. After unleashing the destructive skill, Chu Gi laughed heartily. No wonder everyone wants to be a mage. Wiping out monsters from afar really isn't bad. However, in reality, Chu Gi's Thunderlight hadn't inflicted massive losses on the demons. They continued to rush madly forward, attacking him from all directions. Not just dozens, but hundreds of demons. Exactly 180 had surrounded Chu Gi and Kwang So Nin on the plain. Chu Gi quickly tallied them, a shock passing through him. 180 demons in total. We could use an area attack, but they're too widely scattered now. Kwang So-nin looked around tensely. That noise was huge. Every demon on the plain must have gathered here. Suddenly Chu-gi gave a decisive order. Kwang So-nin, lure the demons to the left. Don't join the fight. Kwang So-nin asked in surprise. Puzzled, why split their forces? But Chu-gi didn't explain and immediately activated multiple support skills. Golden Dawn Fusion, Laming Blessing, Weapons Blessing, and Divine Favor were cast simultaneously. As those skills merged into her body, Kwang So-nin instantly felt a colossal power erupt within her. She checked the system panel and exclaimed in shock. Every stat and power had increased uniformly by 25%. With the enhanced skills, she felt as if wings had been given. Chu-gi urged her to quickly start drawing the demons. Without hesitation, he charged toward the horde, beginning a thunderous battle. The demons prepared to counterattack, but it was too late. Chu-gi delivered a powerful strike. His superior strength made them suffer, screaming in unbearable pain. The plain trembled, and light from his skill flashed like a holy flame burning the darkness. Not stopping, Chu-gi pressed into the remaining demons. Each blow shook the earth, destructive power erupting and forming a dazzling zone of holy light. From afar, Kwang So-nin watched, unable to hide her astonishment. The skills were increased by 25%, effectively nearly doubling his power. To her knowledge, no second-tier knight, not even a level 16, could do that. While she was still thinking, demons suddenly appeared before them. The Wind Wolf immediately roared and leapt forward, biting into a demon that had no time to react. Kwang So-nin also swung the heirloom blade, cutting straight into the monsters. She thought to herself, now is not the time to hesitate. I must follow Chu-gi's instructions. He continuously landed critical strikes, sending the demons to their deaths in an instant. Suddenly, Chu-gi sensed danger from behind. A cunning demon sneaked up from the rear, its cold blade nearly grazing his throat. But at that moment, with just a slight flick of his wrist, a burst of power struck the creature away. He gathered energy, forming a demonic whip shimmering with darkness, lashing the enemy and dealing heavy damage with a shadow effect. Kwang So-nin turned her head, eyes surprised at the call. After a moment's thought, Chu-gi hurled a brilliant fireball toward her, taking advantage of the demons clustering together. He thought to himself, it's time to use this move. Countless demons on the plain were drawn to the radiant light of his holy light profession. Seizing the opportunity, Chu-gi activated the B-rank Holy Light Protection skill. The system announced that all party members were placed within a designated range. Inside the gleaming halo, they were immune to all physical damage for a set time, thus keeping his teammates safe. Clad in the shimmering Holy Knight armor, Chu Ngi continued to cast Holy Light Cross. A brilliant golden cross appeared, radiating divine power like sacred light. The system chimed. Holy light summoned and spreading, drawing energy from behind him, continuously damaging enemies within the light, with an effective range of up to 200 meters. Without hesitation, Chu Ngi amplified the cross's power, creating a terrifying source of energy. The demons hiding in the darkness could not withstand the destructive force and disintegrated one after another under the blinding light. Kwang So-nin stood frozen, mouth agape at that terrifying power. The remaining demons recklessly charged toward Chu Ngi, fearless. Facing them, he stood tall and declared clearly, all darkness will vanish under the light. Chu Ngi wasted no time and unleashed the skill Radiant Valiant Holy Light, Grade B. A storm of holy light erupted, concentrating at a point and dealing magical and light physical damage to all enemies in the area. Two gigantic crosses descended from the sky, plunging straight into the horde of demons. When they struck the ground, they caused an earth-shattering explosion that made the ground tremble violently. In an instant, the crosses merged, forming a gigantic vortex that swept the demons high into the air. Each monster dissolved into nothingness, wiped out completely by the holy light vortex. The entire forest became a blazing light, like hell being burned by illumination. There was no sign of any demon left. From afar, a group watched stealthily, whispering in panic. Who is that? A person or a monster? Another trembled, Boss, should we go greet him? The boss pondered, eyes full of calculation. Our team has someone at level 26. The rest are level 24. Don't even mention fighting him. We couldn't even beat the monsters. He swallowed dryly and continued, this person is terrifying. And so young. We must befriend him. But another immediately panicked. Befriend him how, with that kind of power? At that moment, an ancient vehicle emerged from the void. A girl stepped out, voice full of excitement. We're Chu Ngi's juniors, here to support him. The sudden appearance startled Chu Thu's group, and they all turned to look in unison. Chu Ngi and Kwang So-nin turned around, their eyes filled with utter surprise. At that moment, the system announced, congratulations, you have reached level 17. You received 15 free attribute points and 15 skill points. Congratulations, you have reached level 18. You received 15 free attribute points and 15 skill points. After wiping out the demons, Chu Ngi took out a potion, opened it, and drank it in one gulp. His body gradually returned to its original state, and the holy light on him faded. System summary, level 18, experience 1324/42, 000, strength 160, constitution 171, agility 162, intelligence 172. A total of 180 demons were killed, yielding 60,000 experience points. He thought to himself, it's a pity the fake profession only grants experience capped by level. Otherwise this battle could have yielded much more. His stats increased significantly and his strength was enhanced, but he still felt insufficient to fully utilize higher level skills. Back at school, he planned to discuss with his teacher to find a solution. She will surely have an appropriate fix. Members of the Tanlone team approached, eyes full of amazement. Chu Ngi, did you do all this? Your power far exceeds what I imagine. Before anyone could reply, Kwang So-nin, exhausted, sat down heavily, luckily leaning against the sturdy frame of Fong Lang. Seeing this, everyone anxiously asked, is she okay? Tan Lin checked and replied, I think it's from overexertion. She's completely drained. She asked further, when you killed the demons, did you encounter any that were especially hard to handle? Chu Ngi nodded, his voice calm. The demons I killed were strongest at level 23, golden rank. Suddenly the system issued an alarm, continuously detecting that the interdimensional mana concentration exceeded the limit. Analyzing data, Tan Lin fell into thought, her eyes full of worry. Chu Ngi asked curiously, what's wrong? Tan Lin said solemnly, both the demon army and the human army have leaders. Without a commander here, most of the demon forces wouldn't have appeared. This place isn't safe to stay long. We must return to base immediately. The group departed at once, not lingering another minute. From afar, a group hiding in the bushes whispered among themselves. One asked, boss, it looks like they're about to leave. Shall we go out? The boss nodded. Yeah, go out. But just as they were about to step out, a terrifying power descended from the sky. The group panicked, shouting in unison, boss, what's happening? The boss looked up, sweat pouring, voice trembling. The density of demonic chi is rising. The sky darkened. A ferocious demon hovered in midair, shrouded in thick black smoke. A silhouette riding on the back of a dragon gradually appeared. The system announced, Demon Monster Level 34, Legendary Grade, Skills Unknown, Notes Unknown. Mount, Fire Dragon Level 24, Golden Grade, Strong Attack Skill. Suddenly the system continued the emergency alert. Interdimensional mana concentration exceeds the limit. Analyzing data, complete. Interdimensional invasion level, Grade B, location. East of Fong Mountain Vein, longitude 111.454 E, latitude 15.3 N/S. The information was broadcast across the region. Interdimensional invasion level B. All Legion members assemble immediately and prepare to fight. The warning echoed through the air, repeating continuously, signaling a large-scale crisis about to erupt. All Legion members, Assemble now and be ready to fight. The Snow Dragon Legion's Knight unit completed training at once and moved quickly to the assembly square. The Legion's clerics prepared carefully to protect their bodies against demonic power. The logistics team reallocated resources, supplying mana cores and mana shards. The mage team checked the coordinates longitude 111.454 E, latitude 15.30305 N/S and rushed to erect a massive teleportation formation. In the blink of an eye, everyone had gathered, standing before the teleportation gate, ready under the command of an officer. The officer reported, "Report to the Legion Commander. All personnel have assembled and are awaiting orders." The Snow Dragon Legion's commander from Wuzhou stepped forward, sword in hand, pointing at the troops. His gaze pierced every obstacle, silencing all. He declared in a voice like thunder, like a blade cutting through barriers, like a shield protecting a direction. The crowd responded in unison, their morale soaring, like a blade overcoming all obstacles, like a shield defending a front. At the same time, a tense discussion was underway within the Demon Legion. A demon growled, "Every demon in the Legion was selected and screened by us over half a year since arriving at Lamb Star. We didn't lose many, but at the last moment, before returning to the Holy Realm, over 100 kin were hunted down and killed." Another demon sneered, "Only half a day left before we return to the Holy Realm. Before we go, we should show some arrogance." At the command to engage, the demon army immediately surged with fury, screaming wildly. A demon leader roared, "Thank you, Master. Thank you, Master. I will never forgive. I will seize their souls and burn them in hellfire." Accompanied by summoning magic, the demon's son cast a skill that caused a host of demons to rise from the void. Before everyone's eyes, countless demons appeared. Silver demons, golden demons, and even legendary grade demons. So numerous they could not be counted. Tan Lin activated her scouting ability, eyes horrified. A legendary grade demon, plus a golden grade demon knight and a silver grade demon cleric. She turned to the Tan Lone squad, voice decisive. "Chu Ngi, Tan Lone squad will protect you for a while. If anything happens, break through the encirclement immediately and get out of here." Another member emphasized, "That's right, Chu Ngi. You must survive for everyone." Everyone knew Chu Ngi was the most demonic genius they'd ever met. His talent deserved protection at all costs. The team's eyes blazed with determination toward the monsters. Suddenly, a spatial portal flashed open in the sky, heavy footsteps echoed, and figures gradually emerged. Kwang So-nin stood bewildered, not yet understanding what was happening. While teammates cheered excitedly, the Snow Dragon Legion, every member level 30 or above, rushed in to break the encirclement. A resonant voice, "Break the encirclement and leave. Yes, Chu Ngi, you must live on for everyone." In an undefined space, the demon leader teleported over, laughing madly. "Ha ha! Humans, rest easy. The magic barrier doesn't cover us." The youth and the army were shaken to their core, unable to believe it. As everyone prepared to teleport through the portal, a thick bone-white mist suddenly rolled in, obscuring their sight. One member exclaimed in panic, "What's inside? Why is the teleport point so far away?" Another strained to scout, voice tense. "This is a forbidden-grade magic array of the AM High and Veem Bitch demon clans. Once deployed, the area is sealed, no teleporting from the inside, and attacks from outside are blocked. It would take cooperation of at least 2 legions to break it. Otherwise, we must wait for it to dissipate." The Snow Dragon Legion commander, Tu Vu Chu, touched the edge of the space and asked gravely, "If we wait for the array to dissipate, how long will it take?" The scout replied, "It could take about 5 minutes." He silently looked down at the teammates who needed help. "Count them and record their information," he thought to himself. Suddenly, after detecting the legendary demon's appearance, the system issued a new mission. Eliminate the legendary demon. Failure will be punished with no reward. Success grants an S-rank talent and the Zifuk Lin potion. Chu Ngi stood amid the troops, smiling with confidence. The new mission had finally arrived. Without hesitation, he stepped forward to stop everyone. Seeing this, The teammates asked in worried choruses, "Sir, what are you going to do?" The legendary demon pointed his gleaming sword at Chu Ngi, demonic chi thick in the air. "It seems you've slain our kin. To show respect, I will tear you into 100 pieces and make you die in endless agony," he ordered, and the fire dragon roared, gathering a fireball in its mouth, ready to strike. Chu Ngi showed no flinch, eyes blazing, summoning power to prepare for an earth-shattering battle. In the sky, the fire dragon spat a scarlet flame beam, charging straight at him. Tan Lin clenched her hands and silently prayed, "Chu Ngi, go for it!" Chu Ngi swung both arms, summoning a holy light staff and launching a burst of power to meet it head-on. The two skills collided in midair, light and flame exploding in blinding brilliance. Chu Ngi's skill pierced through, severing one wing of the fire dragon. The dragon screamed, lost balance, and plunged to the ground amid a horrifying explosion. The legendary demon, enraged, ordered his army to continue the assault, leaving only him unscathed. Chu Ngi immediately rushed in and delivered a killing blow. But the demon was not easy to deal with. He swung his sword in a strike that sent rocks flying and split the ground. However, he froze as he realized Chu Ngi had vanished. Using lightning speed and the dust screen to obscure sight, Chu Ngi slid behind him, delivering a powerful strike at the demon. He quickly raised his sword to block, then retreated out of attack range. Seeing Chu Ngi's terrifying destructive power, the demon muttered in astonishment, "Unbelievable. How can this be? This human is only level 18. How could he have the strength to contend with me?" Chu Ngi set his hammer down, eyes cold, ready for the next move. "You defended well. That said, you're the first legendary monster I've met." Insulted, the demon snarled fiercely and lunged at him with the blade. "Damn human!" Chu Ngi nimbly leapt up to evade, immediately unleashing the cross-shaped strike, a brilliant force that stunned the demon. Quick as a flash, he activated pure white radiance, gaining an enhanced state to ensure the next attack would hit. Seizing the opportunity, Chu Ngi concentrated his energy and cast the radiant field. A pillar of golden light descended from the sky, aiming straight at the demon. He panicked and hurriedly activated a defensive skill to resist the strike. "Try to withstand my attack." The surrounding ground shattered, dust flying, demonstrating the terrifying power of both. But the demon's defensive skill was superb, easily stopping the radiant field and allowing no damage through. Chu Ngi was stunned. Even the radiant field couldn't penetrate. He realized ordinary tactics weren't enough to fell this legendary demon. He had to use the system reward skill from the Great Trial. Focusing all his energy into his palm, he prepared to deliver the decisive blow. Seeing this, the demon panicked and cried out a command, "My beloved warriors, kill him for me." The battle cries rolled like thunder as an army charged into the fray regardless of life or death. In the sky, Chu Ngi concentrated all his energy and began to cast his final skill. A layer of shimmering light enveloped his body, so brilliant that everyone had to look up, utterly astonished. Even Wu Chu, the Snow Dragon Legion commander, couldn't hide his admiration. Chu Ngi raised both hands, concentrating the light into a gigantic hand from above that crashed down on the horde of demons. The monsters howled in panic, sensing an unpredictable cataclysm about to occur. The light grew ever more dazzling. The giant hand descended, instantly causing the surrounding demons to disintegrate. Chu Ngi's companions were stunned. One exclaimed, "Am I dreaming? Is that Chu Ngi's skill?" Kwang So Nin felt unease. The magical veins in her body trembled before the might of that light. From above, Wu Chu murmured in amazement, "This power is as strong as a mana artillery." He ordered that they find out who was trapped inside. Someone hurriedly reported, "They are all students from Tahang University. The one who just displayed the skill is this year's top graduate, claiming to be a holy knight." Wu Chu sighed upon hearing this. Top graduate. What a pity. The level gap between the sides is too great. With more time to grow, he could have slain that demon with this skill. On the ground, the legendary demon was gravely wounded, bleeding profusely, its jaw shattered. It roared in anger. How dare you insult my great existence? The demon grew more ferocious and ordered his legion of lesser demons to charge. He cast flame curses and a barrage of spells that empowered the monsters, causing them to rise repeatedly from the shadows. Hundreds, thousands of savage demonic beasts advanced, accompanied by hidden legions of lesser demons below. Facing the vast army, Chu Ngi still stood firm without a hint of flinching. The demons sneered contemptuously. Just a level 18 knight. I fought in many great battles. How could you possibly beat me? The magical power in your body must have been exhausted long ago, he crowed. With no magic left, facing our 300-strong force, sheer numbers alone will grind you to death. Ah, but secretly the demon was worried. The divine hand skill had nearly drained his magical power, equipment recovery was too slow, and now he could only rely on himself. Chu Ngi spotted the opportunity and activated the Supreme Azure Deity Secret Art, S-Rank. The system announced the Holy Knight Temple's secret, a one-time mana-free release unaffected by curse-slowing skills. Upon use, part of the Divine Radiance's power is granted based on bodily endurance. For attributes increase, all holy and light skills gain 5 temporary levels, and HP, stamina, and mana recovery rates are multiplied by 20. The effect lasts for a time but leaves the user in a debilitated state afterward. Brilliant light erupted from Chu Ngi, enveloping him like a god, ready to face the entire horde of demonic beasts. A radiant beam descended abruptly from the sky, piercing inner defenses and tearing through every barrier as if to burn everything away. The dazzling light shrouded Chu Ngi's body, transforming him into another being, suspended in midair. Before the horrified eyes of the monsters and the demon, he muttered in doubt, "What is he doing now?" Within the radiant light, an archangel descended, its resplendent wings softly beating as if embracing Chu Ngi, bestowing upon him a source of divine power. The monsters could only stand rooted, unable to look away from the majestic sight. Pure white feathers gently drifted down. The monsters, curious, reached out to touch them, but the moment they made contact they were burned by a sacred flame, screaming in agony before turning to ash. Those feathers also softly settled on Tu Vu Chu's arm, leaving him astonished. That is Descent Divine Art, a high-level secret art held only by holy class professions. He spoke in a deep, respectful voice. "What is Descent Divine Art?" someone asked. He explained, "It's an advanced skill of holy class professions that can tap into the full energy at the threshold of divine radiance. I once saw a cleric demonstrate Descent Divine Art. A single move could restore a legion's condition to peak. Because of Descent Divine Art, only the chorus troops could endure waiting for support while besieged by 3 demon legions. Divine energy is as abundant as the ocean. Without it, he alone might well have been able to slay the demons. When the demons witnessed this secret art, fear rose within them. One shouted with a trembling voice, "No, this can't be. Clearly this is the highest level secret art. He's only a level 18 knight. By what right can he use divine energy?" A frantic retainer ran over, voice shaking as he warned, "Your Highness, all demons follow orders. Only using matching divine energy can cut through. Otherwise our entire legion will be annihilated." Suppressing his fear, he quietly observed the ritual. A demon beside him, voice low, tried to soothe him. "Your Highness will be able to return safely." In the gloom of the valley, the demon stood before a gate casting a spell. A close aide asked, "Your Highness, regarding the dark seal in the valley, how long will it take to erect the teleportation array?" The demon answered immediately, voice full of confidence. 1 minute. Both sides will trade blows immediately. It's just one skill. His subordinate nodded. "Now is the time for you to show your loyalty." The demon's words ignited like a blaze, stirring the will of the monsters. He roared, his voice shaking the battlefield. "When the Descent Divine Art is invoked, give everything you have to Lord Demon Oma." The declaration fell like thunder, heard clearly by every creature. Immediately they separated, each demon's soul flaring like a demonic flame shooting toward the sky. A lead demon, voice hoarse but resolute, knelt and swore, "O great demon Lord Oima, I am Raskin. I offer myself wholly to honor you. Hundreds of demonic souls harmonized, forming an eerie chant that fused into a surging stream of energy. That power grew ever stronger, upgrading and transforming the demon, making him more powerful than ever before. Meanwhile, the divine light still wrapped Chu Ngi like a resplendent protective veil. A deity quietly manifested beside him, granting miraculous power. The lowly creatures, once suffering and weak, were now imbued with divine energy. That power flowed into Chu Ngi's hands like a miracle, turning him into an invincible knight. When the ritual completed, Chu Ngi opened his eyes, his cold gaze fixed on the demon lord. He raised his hand and pointed at the enemy, voice echoing, "Where we go, there must be light." Instantly, a blinding beam of light erupted and shot toward the demon lord. The surrounding earth and rocks crumbled. The smoke veil dissipated, revealing that the demon lord's form had changed dramatically. His body now burned fiercely, shrouded in a blood-red haze. Status displayed. His level surged from 23 to 43, transforming him into a mighty fire demon, chest heaving as he concentrated auras of blazing flame. The demon lord roared and unleashed a demonic fire beam toward Chu Ngi. The screaming fire struck hard against the column of light surrounding him. Not stopping there, he unleashed another move, forming a gigantic fireball that condensed the fire element to its peak. Surface temperature reached 15 million degrees Celsius. Demonic flame, he whispered in a deep voice. The strongest genius skill. Without the people's sacrifice, we could never perform it. The fireball hurtled toward Chu Ngi, the air seeming to be incinerated. Only 1 minute remained. Chu Ngi, the holy knight, stood motionless before the oncoming fireball. At the moment it was about to strike, an earth-shattering explosion from his skill erupted, shattering the ball in an instant. The fire demon collapsed after the attack, panting, his energy depleted. Chu Ngi's team members watched steadfastly, ready to support, their eyes never leaving their leader. When the smoke cleared, Chu Ngi still stood tall in the air like a god, his gaze as sharp as a blade. Recognizing defeat, the fire demon panicked and attempted to flee, but time was short. Only 1 minute remained to complete the teleportation formation. Stepping into it would finish the ritual. Chu Ngi whispered, eyes unwavering, ready to end everything. Before the demon lord could finish speaking, Chu Ngi from above delivered the decisive blow. Eyes icy, he shouted, "I proclaim myself the god of judgment. Your sentence is death." A cataclysmic slash descended, a brilliant light like a divine blade piercing straight into the fire demon. Cries of agonized pain rang out. The ground along the beam's path cracked open, rocks splitting in two, facing death. The fire demon thrashed in despair, screaming, "I have completed my mission. My glory returns to the holy realm." But his power dissolved, his body collapsed and turned to ash. The remaining demons, witnessing the Lord's fall, were stunned with terror. One panicked demon cried out, "What will we do now? The demon lord is dead. The formation is broken. How can we return to the sanctuary?" From the sky, Chu Ngi silently watched, his sharp gaze bearing witness to the enemy's death. But his body had reached its limit. His energy was depleted. "It's finally over," he whispered as his strength left him, causing him to fall freely from the sky. Chu Ngi's teammates rushed over, shouting his name in alarm. He lay there, powerless, anxious voices echoing in his ears. Despite his tired eyes, Chu Ngi still heard a teammate's decisive orders. "Cleric, check Chu Ngi's condition immediately. Team 2, urgently search for survivors around the mountain area. Remaining legions, follow me and advance." After an indeterminate time, Chu Ngi awoke, his limbs heavy and his breathing labored. "So heavy, I can't breathe," he muttered, head hazy, feeling as if something was pressing down on him. "Ugh. Can't move, sleep paralysis? Am I about to die?"
Panic dồn tét Chu Nghi uprai.
A pungent stench filled his senses. While his eyes were still blurry, a voice called at his ear. "Chu Ngi!" Kwang So Nin cried with worried eyes. "You're awake. You were unconscious for 2 days and nights. I'll go tell everyone." Anger flared in his mind. If I'd woken any later, she would have crushed me for sure. Kwang So Nin suddenly grabbed his sleeve, voice gentle. Yes. Right? Thank you for saving me. Then she unexpectedly placed a sweet kiss on his cheek. Chu Ngi was stunned, watching the embarrassed girl run off, an indescribable swell of emotion rising in him. He instinctively reached up to touch his cheek, where her lips had left a mark. Suddenly, the daily quest board appeared before his eyes. 200 push-ups incomplete, 200 squats unfinished, 200 sit-ups still undone. Chu Ngi frowned and muttered, I slept for 2 days? Missed the daily rewards. What a waste. He hurriedly opened the notifications to check, hoping to make up for it. A message appeared. Congratulations on completing the demon-slaying quest. Corresponding rewards have been granted. Congratulations, you have acquired the S+ talent skill. Resistance to death. This skill allows the body to resist death and recover rapidly from any injury. He read on, eyes lighting up. Congratulations. You have received an S-grade magic potion. Medic Blessing Spirit. After drinking, the user's luck surges for 12 hours. Chu Ngi muttered, a talent for injury recovery. Every class has that, but an S+ named Resistance to Death must be special. Eager to test the new skill, he drew a knife and lightly sliced a small cut on his arm. To his astonishment, the wound healed in just 2 seconds. Heals that fast? He exclaimed, eyes shining. In combat, with this ability, ordinary damage would hardly trouble him. His survivability had skyrocketed. He was about to summon a larger weapon to test a more serious injury, but then shook his head. His legs still trembled from the battle's aftereffects. No, don't be reckless. I nearly died. He muttered with a soft laugh. Heh, that was lucky. He opened the system and looked at the S-grade Medic Blessing Spirit bottle. Drinking it boosts luck for 12 hours. How much would it increase, he wondered. He smiled, imagining finding a legendary weapon, meeting a roadside old woman who turned out to be a third-rank alchemist, or buying top-tier gear from a street vendor. One vial of divine medicine, endless possibilities. He carefully stored the potion, knowing he would use it someday. Then he turned his attention to the next skill, the A-rank Tan Diem Quang. The display showed Tan Diem Quang can condense into a blazing sword of light. When spun, it activates fire element control, increasing fire and light-type skill damage by 20% for himself and allies for a duration. Chu Ngi frowned, suddenly recalling that this skill resembled the protective skill of the Holy Angel. He muttered, Tan Diem Quang belongs to the light element, guarded by angels. Fire and light damage can increase up to 40% if activated correctly. If combined with radiant punishment, could I become a dual-element lightning fire mage? A flash of excitement lit his eyes as his mind began calculating new possibilities. Lost in thought, Chu Ngi was startled by a rapid knocking at the door, urgent as if urging something. A voice called, Someone wants to see you. He left the room and stepped outside to find a man waiting. The man smiled and introduced himself. I am Vong Luong, Deputy Commander of the Snow Dragon Legion, a mage. Classmate Chu Ngi, you timely slew the monsters and destroyed the teleportation formation. Otherwise, we couldn't have captured so many prisoners. Chu Ngi scratched his head and replied bashfully, Sir, I just did some chores. What do you need from me? Vong Luong smiled and explained, the commander should have personally thanked you, but he's busy, so I speak for him. Your final strike, though it destroyed half of the Blight Valley, preserved the demon traces perfectly. The Legion discovered their secret. The commander is reporting the matter to superiors. Unexpectedly, Vong Luong produced a spatial projector. Light flashed, drawing them both into a vast treasure trove. Countless weapons and materials were piled up, glittering with magical light. Vong Luong pointed and declared heartily, These are resources accumulated over hundreds of years by the Snow Dragon Legion. Don't hesitate. Tell me what you want. Chu Ngi widened his eyes, astonished by the hoard. Are there any S-rank national treasures? He asked, his heart pounding. Is there an S-grade Polar Frost Lotus in the store? Vong Luong nodded and searched the vault. After a while, he held up an item emitting a cold light, then frowned and said, There is an S-grade polar frost lotus, but its value is 100 million contribution points. What do you think? Chu Ngi heard this and beamed. Exactly. Seeing this, Vong Luong gritted his teeth, set the polar frost lotus down, and muttered, "All right, I'll think about this. 100 million contribution points is 3 years of my salary. I'll have to ask the commander to cover it." He double-checked and then retracted the spatial orb, returning to the original room. Vong Luong told Chu Ngi, "The polar frost lotus is currently at headquarters. You'll need to wait a few days. If you get bored, I'll arrange people to accompany you on a beast hunt in the mountain vein." In his mind, he calculated sending the younger members with Chu Ngi to hunt beasts to build camaraderie. If the team became the strongest, the Snow Dragon Legion would benefit. The plan was perfect, but as he was about to leave, Chu Ngi hesitated and said, "Sorry, I must return to campus tomorrow for a student competition. Please send the polar frost lotus to my dorm." He added in a near whisper, "Don't forget, I'm still a student." Vong Luong nodded and laughed loudly. "Rest assured, the polar frost lotus will be delivered to Dorm 01 at Tahang University within 2 days. If you later encounter problems you can't solve on the mountain vein, contact the Snow Dragon Legion." With that, he closed the door and left. Chu Ngi relaxed and sat down to breathe a sigh of relief. Tu Van has been saved. I really must thank that demon. Without it, I wouldn't have had the chance to get the polar frost lotus from the Snow Dragon Legion's vault. He glanced at the time and jolted. It was almost noon. He had to finish his daily tasks today. In another corner, Tan Lin, captain of the Tan Lone squad, stepped out of the bath. A thin towel fluttered in the breeze, gently wrapping her figure. Chao Dan leaped up from downstairs, caught Tan Lin fresh from her bath, and broke into a mischievous grin. "Heh, Captain. We want to invite Chu Ngi to join the Tan Lone squad. What do you think?" Tan Lin slightly frowned, speaking calmly. "I'm afraid he won't agree easily. With that strength, hunting beasts solo might be more effective. But you'll never know until you try. Besides, the commander himself wants him to join. Doesn't he?" Chao Dan laughed. "I've seen you sneak to visit Chu Ngi a few times." At last Tan Lin dressed neatly, walked to Chu Ngi's door, and knocked softly. Chu Ngi had just finished his workout, sweat still soaking his body. Seeing her, he was briefly surprised. Tan Lin smiled and went straight to the point. "Chu Ngi, do you want to join our Tan Lone squad?" Seeing him silent, she perceptively guessed his thoughts, but still smiled, voice tinged with shyness. "Chao Nin and Chao Dan will be upset for a while." Then she changed tone playfully. "Are you teasing again, senior?" "Yes. This is a special thank you for saving us in the mountain vein." Unexpectedly, she stepped closer, embraced him tightly, and placed a gentle kiss on his cheek. Before Chu Ngi's astonished eyes, she nimbly dashed out the door and waved goodbye. Chu Ngi touched his cheek and muttered, "A special reward, a special thanks. Girls are bold these days." He smiled softly, feeling an indescribable surge of emotion. Elsewhere, beyond Vu Chao Dan's region, an important meeting was underway. According to the investigation, this demon incursion into the otherworld differed greatly from the one 3 years ago. They appeared continuously, alternating at the mountain vein. Someone frowned and said in a low voice, "Are you sure? Do you realize the implications of this report?" Vu Chu, who led the meeting, solemnly explained. So far, otherworldly creatures could only invade Lam Tin through large spatial rifts. Those rifts are rare, so the invasion risk wasn't too severe. But if they can use medium-sized spatial rifts, which are countless on Lam Tin, that would be a catastrophe. Lam Tin would face extinction. He paused, eyes sharp. The investigation results had been checked many times. Fortunately, they found that only creatures below level 3 could pass through medium-sized spatial rifts. If this information is correct, they must urgently devise countermeasures. Vu Chu turned to Counselor Duong, voice decisive. "Counselor Duong, notify all legions nationwide immediately and instruct them to investigate every medium-sized spatial rift in their garrison areas." Counselor Truong An was tasked to attend this session of the United Nations Parliament, report these findings, and monitor other countries' reactions. Vu Chu lowered his voice and revealed that this intelligence came from an 18-year-old teenager. Yes, the young hero Chu Ngi, the rising holy knight, top scorer in the Tahang Provincial College entrance exam, and top student at Tahang University. His use of the descent divine art to defeat demons and destroy the teleportation formation brought them great benefit. Upon hearing this, the hall suddenly trembled. People reacted in astonished whispers. A holy knight becoming the top scorer of Tahang province. That's rare. Someone spoke up. Moreover, Chu. Could he be a descendant of the Frozenbone Chu clan? Another turned to Counselor Vong seriously. Counselor Vong, when you return to the school, keep an eye on Chu Ngi for us. If he's a promising talent, don't hide it. Report to us immediately. The person mentioned was Vong Hui, president of Tahang University. Vu Chu observed everyone's reactions and thought to himself that these were the country's most powerful figures. If he won their trust, Chu Ngi's future would surely be wide open. Time passed, and at Tahang University the atmosphere grew lively. An announcement rang out. The university entrance exam will begin at 10 a.m. Students, please proceed to the sports field to assemble. Today's admissions opening ceremony featured the presence of Deans Tong Kai from the Weapons Institute and Chu Hoa Duong from the Elemental Institute, Truong Lin from the Tactics Institute, and No Kok Kan from the Logistics Institute, and No Man from the War Institute. No Man stepped onto the podium and boomed, "Hello everyone. I am No Man, Dean of the War Institute. Welcome to Tahang University. This admissions exam will be divided into 2 stages. Stage 1 is the Hidden Cave Challenge, ranked by difficulty and completion time. Stage 2 is the Free Challenge. Each candidate has 3 opportunities to challenge someone ranked higher. If you win, you swap positions. The crowd immediately buzzed with whispers. What? It's time and Chu Ngi and Kwang So Nin still haven't shown up? If they don't arrive now, they'll lose the right to participate in the entrance exam. Someone sneered. Where's Chu Ngi? I don't see him. Maybe he forgot the exam. Another added gloatingly. Finally, Chu Ngi has been gone for a month. Good, one less strong competitor. He didn't train seriously. Now he doesn't even dare to enter the entrance exam. What a missed opportunity. No Man mounted the stage again, voiced like a general before battle. Everyone, bring your best gear, talismans, and weapons. The exam officially begins. He introduced the first challenge, the Silver Moon Secret Realm instance, the largest and most difficult ever, designed to fully test the candidate's potential. Besides easy, hard, and nightmare difficulties, we've specially added the Abyss level. Below the stands, the candidates whispered and discussed. The Abyss level will definitely be far more terrifying. Someone shouted confidently, I'll sweep the Abyss. Now this is interesting. No Man raised his hand, voice thundering. Danger Zone. Bear Monster Cave. Levels 12 to 19. Difficulty options. Easy, hard, nightmare, or abyss. Team size. 1 to 6. Begin. In the gloomy, shadowed forest, packs of savage bear monsters lurked, their roars chilling to the bone. Legend says even a small bear monster can swallow a human whole and still be unsatisfied. As soon as the information was announced, the candidates were instantly teleported into the instance. System notifications rang continuously. Candidate entered instance.
Séquence 015 Chan et lien unlocked Nightmare Difficulty.
Seken 002 tham iPhone Unlock Mythic Difficulty. Seken 035 Li Minh Unlock Nightmare Difficulty.
Sequence 007 Vo Ka Unlocked Mystic Difficulty. Sequence 016 Cao Tin Unlocked Mystic Difficulty.
Seken 022 Li Tinh Hu Unlock Nightmare Difficulty.
No Man stood on the podium, smiling with satisfaction. This year's exam is excellent. The candidates are full of energy and enthusiasm, truly promising young talents. At that moment, a girl came running from afar, voice worried. Report to the dean. Numbers 001 and 003 went to train at Windy Peak earlier but still haven't arrived. No Man frowned, annoyed. Why are numbers 001 and 003 missing? Youth relying on high ranking to behave undisciplined. The girl hurriedly explained, Dean, Chu Ngi isn't that kind of person. But no man cut her off decisively. No need for further explanation. Students like that need character training. If they don't show up, they're not allowed to participate. Drop them to the bottom of the list. Just then, a shout rang from afar. Wait! Chu Ngi appeared, face bright, rushing in like the wind, carrying a girl on his shoulder. He panted, Quick! Hurry! Sorry, teacher, we're late. The teachers who witnessed this were stunned but quickly restored order. The system announced again. Sequence 001 Chu Ngi unlocked the instance at Abyss difficulty. Little Noi, with sparkling eyes, leads the team to pioneer the Abyss difficulty. Chu Ngi smiled brightly at the girl beside him. Just in time, the scene shifted instantly and the team stepped into the dark instance. A cold announcement rang out. You have entered the Bear Demon Cave. Selected difficulty: Inferno. Note: monsters on Inferno difficulty are extremely ferocious. Be careful when using return scrolls. Blessings from Tubin Min. May your courage receive divine favor. A gentle radiance enveloped the group as if the gods had granted protection. Chu Ngi gripped his weapon, eyes blazing with battle intent, and roared with excitement. This is the feeling of combat. I can't wait any longer. Immediately the monster info appeared clearly. Bear Warrior Demon, level 17, 2-star silver talent, possessing fur armor and frenzied charge. Next, Bear Hunter Demon, also level 17, 3-star silver talent with pursuit slow skill. Finally, another Bear Warrior Demon, level 18, 2-star silver talent, with a strong protective ring skill and crushing manifestation. Without hesitation, Chu Ngi raised his blade and activated his power. A burst of fighting aura radiated from him, as if tearing through all limits. Beside him, the beautiful girl quietly activated the Divine Phantom Breaker skill. Her sword flashed like lightning, unleashing a series of razor-sharp combos that pierced the bear's defenses. At the same time, the red-haired boy with a careless grin focused all his energy. Flames erupted from his fist, forming a brilliant punch that lunged at a bear demon, dealing devastating damage in a single blow. Further away, another contestant with a calm, lake-like demeanor used the wind dance heart-soothing shot. He spun nimbly, delivered a powerful kick, and sent the enemy flying, knocking them down instantly. Outside the instance, the examiners watched the screens intently, smiles of satisfaction on their faces. This year's candidates are quite excellent, said No Man, voice full of enthusiasm. He discreetly signaled, Bring up the window for number 001. I want to see what he can do after a month wandering Windy Peak. The view switched to inside the instance. Chu Ngi now gripped his magic staff, demeanor proud as if strolling through a nightmare-level instance. An announcement sounded. Congratulations to candidate Chu Ngi for clearing the first stage, killing 16 demons within 5 seconds. Heavens! Unbelievable! 5 seconds? One examiner exclaimed, eyes wide with astonishment. How did Chu Ngi, using only the supportive Holy Light Ring skill, defeat them in a single sweep? The destructive power from the burning effect left everyone stunned. Perhaps Chu Ngi's intelligence stat is exceptionally high, another examiner remarked in awe. Or maybe an attribute has been enhanced, or he's using a rare item. One run isn't enough to conclude. No Man was still in shock, murmuring, Even with my combat experience, I can't recognize what Luke Veen Quanglan is. He paused, eyes flashing. This guy didn't waste his month. Truly noteworthy. Inside the instance, Chu Ngi unleashed the skill light of punishment. Brilliant light exploded and quickly faded. He immediately assumed stance, standing tall amid the battlefield. The system announced in a cold yet authoritative voice. Congratulations, you cleared the second gate, killing 200 demons. Time: 1 minute 23 seconds. Spectacular success. The announcement continued. Congratulations on clearing the third gate. Congratulations on completing the Abyss level. Time: 4 minutes 57 seconds. Rating SSS. You have been confirmed as the top of the leaderboard for this level. The rewards displayed with an excited tone. Skill book, Hammer of Regret, 13.2 experience points, 25 free attribute points, 25 skill points. The system described the reward, Hammer of Regret, a gigantic hammer forged from sacred power, dealing enormous damage to any enemy struck. Not only that, a new announcement added to the excitement. Congratulations, you have unlocked a new achievement for being the first to clear this level. Choose one of the following 3 abilities. 1. Focused Light A. Increases neural reaction speed by 30%. 30% chance to avoid interruption when activating skills. 2. Sprint A. After entering combat state, movement speed gradually increases up to 50%. 3. Steadfast Guard A. When using a shield as a weapon, resistance increases by 30%. Chu Ngi smirked slightly, eyes sparkling with confidence. Indeed, in some cases, completing a stage or special quest can unlock new abilities or enhance a character's power. It's a very interesting progression mechanic in the game. He murmured excitedly, player skills and talents are crucial in determining a character's strength. At first, I could only activate the Holy Paladin profession during the class change ceremony thanks to an S+ aptitude. Maybe that's a privilege of Platinum tier maps and above. Thanks to outstanding talent, Chu Ngi broke records on the white copper maps during the major exam. But this reward was not as expected. Still, offering a choice of 3 is humane. No need to worry about getting a useless ability, he thought to himself, eyes sharp as they scanned each option. Steadfast Guard fits a paladin build, but it's unnecessary for me. Not bad, but inferior to Focused Light. Calculations ran through Chu Ngi's mind like lightning. From the moment he detected an enemy to the counterattack, everything had to be measured in heartbeats. The stronger the enemy, the faster their strikes, making neural reaction speed a decisive factor. The aura of concentration, which reduces the chance of skill interruption, could become the trump card. Used skillfully, it can even turn the tide in an instant. Suddenly, the system sounded a cold announcement. The Abyss level playthrough has been completed. Would you like to open an additional substage? Chu Ngi did not hesitate and nodded in agreement. Immediately, a heavy, pressurizing aura rose from the teleport gate. Hopefully the substage will be more exciting. This is getting a bit boring, he murmured, a confident smile touching his lips. Outside the instance, the veteran stroked his beard and laughed heartily. Not bad, very good. Excellent combat tactics and impeccable elemental control. No Man nodded enthusiastically. Ha. Quick thinking, good reactions. The Abyss playthrough is indeed harder than I expected. Another examiner exclaimed, extreme adaptability. Abyss is already very difficult. He paused, eyes widening in astonishment. Chu Ngi is not only strong in magic, but also has impressive enhancement capabilities. His melee combat is astonishing too. In the observation room, Dean Truong Lin pondered, Chu Ngi's skills are too comprehensive, but being too broad can lead to suboptimal growth point allocation. No Man nodded. True, that's an issue. After the exam, I'll speak with him directly. Another examiner interjected. Everything depends on which institute Chu Ngi chooses. Only then can a clear direction be set. Indeed, someone added. The institutes will certainly start competing for outstanding students. At that moment, a long-haired man stepped forward, smiling broadly. Pity I arrived late and didn't witness the full extent of this kid's power. The scene shifted to the dark space inside the instance. Chu Ngi stood silently, eyes coldly observing the scene before him. He thought to himself, has a ritual of the dark god taken place here? His footsteps moved forward slowly, his voice low as if speaking to himself. Every world has gods of light. Naturally, there will be corresponding dark gods. Dark gods are not merely shadowy entities but a general term for deities of chaos and madness. Unlike gods of light or darkness, which require only faith and devotion, worshipping dark gods demands fresh lives and souls as offerings. As he finished, Chu Ngi frowned slightly, his gaze scanning the lingering occult traces. Although that figure had been destroyed by legions and inspectors, the millions of souls devoured by the evil god could not be restored. He had secretly devised a cruel plan, willing to sacrifice an entire mid-sized city. Millions perished in a single night, propelling him from level 54 to 899 in an instant. Though defeated, the ritual's aftereffects still spread. Since then, the Central Xia Kingdom enacted strict bans. Heretical worship was a capital crime, punishable by immediate execution. Yet the occult allure of heresy continued to spread at a terrifying rate. Many, disregarding the danger, risked everything to tread this forbidden path. A low voice echoed in the darkness. Of course, it isn't only humans who believe in heresy. Beast folk, elves, even angels, can fall into that faith. At that moment, a horrifying entity before Chu Ngi gradually took shape. A bear wraith, level 19. Once the former elder of the bear clan, now turned into a monster after a demonic ritual. It roared, voice dripping with bloodlust. The scent of fresh flesh. Your scent is delicious. Chu Ngi curled his lip, eyes flashing with challenge. Not a bad final boss. He continued calmly. You're an immortal being, immune to physical damage? If other fighters faced you, they'd freeze. His tone immediately shifted to excitement. For me, this is the real challenge. Delicious. Come then. Without hesitation, Chu Ngi summoned the radiant light. A pillar of blazing golden light erupted, surrounding him like a vortex of radiance, ready to strike the bear wraith. The monster sneered and roared contemptuously, truly like throwing eggs at stones.
Chu Nghi Stúc Tang.
Behind him, the radiant circle shone brilliantly, emitting an overwhelming aura. His eyes were cold, locked onto the target. The bear wraith continued to roar arrogantly. Human, I admit your holy radiance is strong, but before the immortal power Lord Xia bestowed upon me, all is futile. How potent is that holy radiance? It seems you intend to use a finishing move. You can't do it. All you do is futile struggle. The bear wraith laughed scornfully and screamed on. After using your finishing blows, how much strength will remain in your body? Wait until I revive next time. That will be when you die. Chu Ngi only curled his lip, a challenging smile on his face. Oh? Is that so? Try it then. He raised his hand without hesitation. A cataclysmic explosion rang out, the ground below cracking open into deep fissures. The bear wraith roared repeatedly. Foolish humans! I told you, you cannot kill me. Chu Ngi smiled faintly, a gleam of mockery in his eyes. Nonsense! Before he could finish, Chu Ngi performed the fan dance. Countless afterimages of arms appeared, each strike carrying terrifying force, raining down like a storm. The ground shattered into fragments. The bear wraith, though proud, had reached its limit and kept screaming in despair. Lord Xia, my power, humans deserve death. Suddenly, the system announced coldly, Congratulations, you have completed the instance. Completion time, 1 minute 2 seconds. Clear reward, 7,113 experience points. Congratulations, you have reached level 19. Congratulations, you have obtained the golden malevolent beast horn. Holding the item he had just received, Chu Ngi couldn't help but exclaim. It was indeed a fine piece of equipment. Chu Ngi walked to stand before the instance gate, his gaze contemplative as if piercing the mist. He thought, indeed, limitless resurrection is just an illusion. Exhaust its power and it can be killed. As soon as he entered this space, he felt a raging power enveloping it. It wasn't an ordinary element. When casting several spells, he noticed a strange similarity. Therefore he inferred it was the residual power of the dark god. He murmured, eyes sharp. Each time the malevolent soul titan revives, that stream of demonic energy weakens a bit. From that, Chu Ngi concluded, its number of revivals is limited. The way to clear it is to defeat it repeatedly, draining the dark god's energy in the space until it is completely exhausted. The scene shifted to another subinstance where the challenge was harsher. Substages truly are the hardest part. You have to kill the malevolent soul titan 10 times before it can be permanently destroyed. Chu Ngi murmured, the corner of his mouth lifting in a confident smile. Ha! Luckily I just leveled up twice. I can control the clear time within 8 minutes. Alright, now let's show this boss what we can do. Outside, God Chi Tui narrowed his eyes, a sly smile spreading across his lips. I didn't expect Chu Ngi could use a 5-star skill. He just bumbled around and found a shortcut? Ha ha! You actually dare to let new freshmen imitate this kind of shortcut? Another examiner nodded, voice admiring. True, it seems this holy paladin has his own secrets. An S-rank skill isn't something a student from a barren district can easily access. Could it be, outside the instance? An examiner coughed a few times and pondered. Unbelievable, at this level already. A nearby girl laughed, astonished. Wait, isn't something off about his level? Level 19. Really? This person is terrifying. Someone else exclaimed, eyes incredulous. According to the leaderboard, Chu Ngi had only been level 13 earlier. Even for a high-tier instance, jumping 6 levels in a short time is nearly impossible. Teacher Ta smiled faintly and explained, it's not hard to explain. After reporting, Chu Ngi left the school to hunt monsters and level up. In Fengshan Vein, he harvested quite a lot. He entered this instance at level 18. With the Holy Paladin profession at level 19, the freshman tournament is child's play for him. If it weren't to verify resource allocation, he probably wouldn't even need to participate. Just then, a staggering figure stumbled out of the instance gate. The red-haired man was exhausted, his flame cloak still draped over his shoulders. Seeing Chu Ngi standing there, he startled, eyes full of doubt. Why is he here? Could he have beaten it before me? Impossible. He must have failed the substage and retreated early. He brushed past Chu Ngi, face full of disappointment, muttering, I carry the great honor of the Zhongning clan. I absolutely cannot lose to a poor northerner. Chu Ngi stood silently, briefly surprised by the outburst. He smiled coldly. Oh, that angry? Could it be? You were eliminated. Suddenly, a cry for help rang from above. Help! Save me! Chu Ngi immediately rushed over, moving like the wind, catching a falling girl. The girl beamed, eyes sparkling. Big brother Chu Ngi, you really cleared it faster than me. Ah! In the sky, countless instance gates opened at once, brilliant light pouring out. Chu Ngi replied teasingly, All right, I'm only a few months older than you. Shouldn't you be calling me big brother? Suddenly, a stream of students began to fall freely from the instance gates. Screams for help echoed everywhere. Ah, help! The healing team sprang into action at once, urgently administering aid. Quickly heal them, hurry! Someone shouted amid the chaos. A while later, Teacher No Man raised his hand to the sky, his voice booming like thunder. Stage 1 is officially over, now announcing rankings and clear times. The nearby red-haired man ground his teeth and laughed smugly. Ha ha! Finally they're announcing it. I can hardly wait. The system began to announce, cold but clear. Stage 1 results are as follows. Top 1, Chu Ngi. Instance clear time 4 minutes 57 seconds. Substage time 7 minutes 12 seconds. Top 2, Shen Lingfeng. Instance clear time 13 minutes 35 seconds. Substage time 7 minutes 42 seconds. Top 3, Kwang Sonin. Instance clear time 7 minutes 23 seconds. Substage time 8 minutes 12 seconds.
Top 4, Tong Ha Lang.
Instance clear time 18 minutes 26 seconds. Substage time 9 minutes 12 seconds. Top 5, Tan Feng. Instance clear time 20 minutes 45 seconds. Substage time 10 minutes 10 seconds. Hearing this, the red-haired man froze, his mouth twisted, eyes filled with disbelief. He murmured, voice trembling and incredulous. He actually cleared the Abyss instance before me, and he's a full 15 minutes faster than me. This must be an illusion. A few seconds later, the red-haired man ran around like a madman, muttering non-stop. Chu Ngi, you stole my top scholar accolade. Now you steal the freshman contest's top title. No matter what you did in the next second phase, Chu Ngi watched silently, a flash of contempt in his eyes. He thought to himself, why climb so high? I'll surely crush you under my feet. The scene shifted to the free arena, where Phase 2 officially began. A round of applause thundered. Countless beams of golden light flared up, forming a magnificent arena. The system announced the rules in a cold voice. Each person has 3 challenge attempts. After each challenge, there is a 5-minute rest period. The atmosphere grew lively. A contestant shouted, "Phase 2 is finally here. I want to challenge rank 154. Another replied, "My class isn't suited to fighting monsters, but it's ideal for dueling others. I want to challenge rank 86. Suddenly, the red-haired Tam Ling Fong yelled excitedly, "Come on, Chu Ngi. Let's see who's stronger." All eyes turned to the arena. Tam Ling Fong, ranked 2nd, hailed from the Zhongning clan and possessed the rare flame dragon bloodline. Chu Ngi's appearance shattered his dream of being first, leaving him with deep hatred. Kwang So-nin whispered to Chu Ngi about Tam Ling Fong's status and strength, his origin and flame dragon bloodline, and the grudge he held for being surpassed. After hearing this, Chu Ngi's mouth curled into a cold smile. He leapt onto the arena with a light but powerful movement. Upon landing, he stared at his opponent and said in a steady voice, "I hope you can give it your all." Tam Ling Fong was no less, immediately unleashing his power. The flame dragon bloodline erupted, his presence like consuming fire. The holy paladin faced the flame dragon. Both were ready to fight. "Let's see who is stronger in the end." Tam Ling Fong roared, eyes burning with determination. As the signal sounded, Tam Ling Fong launched Red Flame Fist, charging at Chu Ngi like a blazing inferno. Combining Blood Rage and Red Flame Storm, he poured everything into the opening strike, surging with momentum. The examiners in the stands watched intently, eyes fixed on the 2 fighters. One excitedly noted this was a Berserker signature skill, and Tam Ling Fong aimed to end the match quickly with a decisive blow. He activated Blood Rage. Red Flame Fist exploded to neutralize Chu Ngi's enhancement. Dealing with the Zhongning air is no simple task, but Chu Ngi remained motionless, his gaze calm like a still lake. The red-haired man couldn't believe his eyes and bellowed, "Holy Radiant Guard? Since when did you unlock the B+ level Holy Radiant Guard skill? It can resist physical damage. This is a skill I don't want him to use." Still one step too late. Seeing his attack ineffective, Tam Ling Fong hurriedly pulled back to gain momentum. Chu Ngi curled his lips, a cold smile tinged with contempt. He drew his magic maul and said in a steady voice, "You chose well. Your attack is indeed very fast. But once I deploy Holy Radiant Guard, it only takes 1 second. I hope you can present a different kind of match. I purposely didn't attack first, but sorry you can't interest me." Not giving his opponent time to react, Chu Ngi swung the maul. A blinding beam of light shot straight at Tam Ling Fong. The red-haired man hastily activated the flame-armored shield, but in an instant the shield shattered into pieces, fragments spraying like errant stars. Tam Ling Fong froze, unable to believe his flame-armored shield had been destroyed by a single blow. The attack's terrifying force sent him flung into the air. How can he have such power? He wondered, panic in his eyes. From below, an ominous aura rose, signaling that Chu Ngi was ready for the next strike. In the blink of an eye, Chu Ngi appeared right beside Tam Ling Fong, as fast as a phantom. "This time you won't be able to evade," he muttered, raising his magic maul and plunging down. Tam Ling Fong only managed to scream, "No! I cannot lose." A powerful strike from above slammed down, shaking the entire arena. At that moment, Tam Ling Fong activated Flame Dragon Scale Guard. A dazzling layer of scales enveloped his body, just in time to block Chu Ngi's maul. Chu Ngi slightly frowned, surprise flashing in his eyes. Flame Dragon Scale Guard. Indeed the energy hidden in your bloodline. Chu Ngi moved nimbly, continuously evading the counterattacks. He murmured with a hint of admiration, "Kwang So-nin too, Tam Ling Fong as well. Before those who truly possess bloodline power, they can all control this energy. It's admirable." Suddenly, Chu Ngi reached out and grabbed Tam Ling Fong's blazing fist. "Once you've activated your bloodline power, you're no longer my match," he declared, swinging his other hand and bringing them all down. A thunderous explosion rang out as Holy Radiant Guard flared, illuminating the entire arena. But this time, Tam Ling Fong reacted extremely quickly, immediately backing away and dodging the attack. Chu Ngi frowned slightly. He could still avoid that?
Tham Lang Phong lau ghét lao ly. Ice burning Willy.
The flame dragon bloodline erupted violently, surrounding him like a storm of fire. My flame dragon bloodline isn't limited to close combat. Today I'll show you the power of flame dragon scale guard. Immediately, he unleashed dragon breath. A torrent of crimson flame spurted forth, racing straight toward Chu Ngi. The crowd below held their breath, eyes fixed on the arena. An examiner exclaimed, "Oh, it's dragon breath, the bloodline skill of the flame dragon." Another worried, "Tam Ling Fong is forced to use his trump card. Chu Ngi hasn't used a special bloodline. This could put him at a disadvantage. Is Chu Ngi about to lose?" But at that moment, Chu Ngi calmly activated Holy Purifying Light Wheel. A radiant ring of light appeared behind him, exuding a divine aura, as if drawing in all of Tam Ling Fong's flames. The dragon breath struck the light wheel and was swallowed. All of its destructive power dissipated. Tam Ling Fong froze, horror flashing in his eyes.
Impossible.
He roared and unleashed another stream of dragon breath to test it. Chu Ngi only curled his lips, voice cold. "Useless. Your fire cannot escape my control." He raised his hand, as if squeezing the opponent's skill, causing the flames to dissipate without causing any damage. "This fight should end here," Chu Ngi murmured, eyes sharp. He swung the magic maul, a wave of intense light exploding forth.
Ru sinh bắt tao quát Tham Lang Phong.
The red-haired man screamed, voice full of resentment. "Use my fire to defeat me? Dream on." No sooner had he finished speaking than his flame unexpectedly turned back on him, reversing course toward its owner. The terrifying force hurled him far away, only stopping when it crashed into the protective barrier surrounding the arena. The system announced coldly, "Tam Ling Fong has lost consciousness. Congratulations. Victory belongs to Chu Ngi." The crowd erupted in commotion. Medical team immediately rushed to Tam Ling Fong's side to examine and treat him. An examiner stepped forward and murmured, "Tam Ling Fong acted recklessly and the whole match was crushed. Chu Ngi's true power hasn't been fully revealed. If he used his full strength, how terrifying would it be?" Another person nodded. "His combat knowledge and rank are both very strong.
Defeating Tham Lang Phong is understand.
But who would think he could level up 5 ranks in just 1 month?" The other teachers standing together also nodded in praise. Truly worthy of the top rank. Suddenly, a girl jumped onto the arena, looking confident under everyone's gaze. She smiled brightly and announced, "I'm Song Halan, Spirit Path Acolyte Level 17. Pleased to meet you." Chu Ngi observed her, curiosity flitting across his eyes. He thought to himself that Spirit Path Acolyte is a rare class in Ha Nation, specializing in talismans and seals. Previously, when determining Little Van's strange illness was caused by awakened bloodline, the priest suggested using seals to restrain it. Unexpectedly, a Spirit Path Acolyte appears here today. She stepped forward, voice steady. "Paladin level 19, Chu Ngi. You're surely not using your full power yet, right? Wait, once the fight starts, I might sense a breakthrough of your full strength. Don't worry. I won't interrupt when you activate enhancement skills." The crowd below burst into discussion, all astonished that Chu Ngi had already reached level 19. Someone frowned and muttered, "I'm not sure if I can use appraisal magic to investigate him. Turns out he's 3 levels above me." She glanced at Chu Ngi, eyes showing surprise. Indeed, when Chu Ngi fought Tam Ling Fong, he didn't use enhancement skills at all. It's unbelievable. An examiner nearby interjected, "Isn't Song Halan the noble daughter of the Song family in Guiyun province? The only clan certified for external ventures?" Chu Ngi smiled, voice steady but confident. "No need to yield. I will follow your lead." Song Halan laughed radiantly. "Then it's decided." As the match announcement sounded, Chu Ngi immediately displayed his power. He cast Radiant Bamboo Grace, his aura exploding like a sacred flame. A brilliant light surrounded him, valor blooming, protective aura spreading and making the air vibrate. He declared, "This is my current flourishing state. Let's experience this battle together." Song Halan watched, determination flashing in her eyes. She thought to herself it was time to use full strength. She nimbly summoned shimmering talismans that spun around her like a vortex of light, ready for the fight.